enemy that the immortal Emperor Eternal Night had mentioned before. They suddenly realized what was going on. The sworn enemy of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor turned out to be the desolate Emperor Palace. At this time, the entire Huangdi Palace and Fuxian Holy Land were plunged into fear and shrouded in gloom. People were in a panic and restless state. On the other hand, in Qingshuan Taoist sect, what Chen Zhenai destroyed Dijinzhan Qingshan and Bai Yuan. The sect's top leaders exclaimed in surprise. It was hard to imagine why Chen Zhenai showed up again and made such a devastating move. Those are three great immortal emperors. And what's the difference between this and directly destroying two top-level immortal sects? After reacting, he gasped with a hiss. Hurry to Jishiandao Immortal Realm. Hurry to the Jidao Imperial Palace. Chen Zhenai is there. No matter why, they have been searching for Chen Zhenai for so long, and Chen Zhenai finally showed up. You must seize the opportunity to see it. Otherwise, who knows if Chen Zhenai will disappear without a trace again. Mo Qingru was confused. Could it be that junior brother's wife is the immortal emperor hidden in the Jidao Imperial Palace? Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence that my junior brother appeared in the Jishiandao Immortal Realm? And why was my junior brother so furious? Only in this way does it make sense. It's unbelievable that my junior brother actually became a Taoist couple with that female immortal emperor. The word fate is beyond words. Mo Qingru was also quite emotional. If her junior brother's wife was not the immortal emperor deliberately hidden by the Jidao Imperial Palace, perhaps her junior brother would not have to go through so much trouble and would have been able to find his wife earlier. At the same time, in the major immortal realms, some hidden secret realms or extremely dangerous places, abyssal demon caves appear one after another. As the ground collapsed and space twisted, everything around it crumbled into ashes, forming huge demon abysses that were bottomless and looked like a chasm in the sky. The dark scarlet color is the normal state, releasing a heart-pounding demonic energy that rises endlessly. The fairyland belongs to the fairyland, but demons are a part of it, and there are shadows of demons or demonic energy and demonic ways everywhere. The Devil's Cave is connected to the Devil's Abyss, the passage to the Devil World. Soon, at the edges of the demon caves, hideous claws appeared, followed by fierce and ugly shadows that leaped up. Just like dumplings cooked in reverse, they appear in an endless stream. It didn't take long before a huge demon abyss army was formed. Red eyes scanned the surroundings. Can we kidnap the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor and bring him back to maintain order? This will happen in one fell swoop. Chapter 58 Shocking. A beautiful mother brings her child to worship the sect, when his parents caused a big disturbance in the fairy world, causing a stir in all directions. Chen Ziyuan, Chen Zihao, and others who were in the ancient continent finally arrived at the legendary Nine Saints Temple. Looking at the magnificent 9 holy palaces in the distance, the 9 huge palaces stood out among the mountains and rivers and were particularly conspicuous. The 2 little ones showed expressions of great anticipation. 9 holy temples were here. We can join the 9 holy temples and ask them to help us, my father and my sister, to capture our mother. That's right, there's strength in numbers. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao are still full of energy, and their energetic little faces are excited. As long as they succeed, Dad will praise them when he finds out. They can also gain the protection of the 9 holy temples and even become a strong backing to help them capture their mother who they have never seen. Should be easier, right? Anyway, when you see others joining the sect, they will get the sect's protection and help. Li Mayaajin and Gong Luoyu accompanied them with a smile. They didn't expect that the 2 children had such a simple idea. They prepared for it for a long time, made themselves embarrassed, and also tricked a group of robbery cultivators. But now they felt a little dizzy and nauseous because they had been carried along by the 2 children all the way. They had been rushing here without stopping, traveling day and night. It's embarrassing to say this. They are responsible for pointing the way, just like a spiritual tool. Ziyu and Zihao, let's go to the 9 Saints Temple and take a look, Li Mayaajin said softly. The terrifying force of the 9 Saints Temple can be regarded as a top-level holy force. Although there are no powerful emperors, there are 9 saints in charge. Normally, she doesn't want to come because the pressure would make her feel uncomfortable and restrained. And of course, it would be difficult to get in touch with her. If it weren't for accompanying her 2 children and repaying her gratitude, she might never come here in her lifetime, unless her strength allowed it. Okay, beautiful sister. Chen Zihao held Li Mayaajin's hand and hardly let go. Wait a minute. Gong Luoyu was a little wary and reminded them, My two young Taoist friends, becoming a disciple of the Nine Saints Temple is probably not easy. Of course, it's not that you are not strong enough, but you are a little young. The major forces generally have age restrictions when recruiting disciples. A 3-year-old little Taoist like this, I'm afraid he will never meet the age standard, and they won't accept him because he's too young. Of course, there are exceptions to everything. Ziyuan and Zihao are so powerful, so there must be no problem with their talent. However, just in case of failure and the two children being sad, I still feel it is necessary to give them a reminder. Fairy sister, what does it matter if we are young? Chen Ziyuan didn't quite understand, because they had rarely come into contact with sect forces before. Li Maiajin naturally understood this and consoled them. Ziyuan and Zihao, your fairy sister is right. Although you are young and don't meet the age limit for the assessment, you have extraordinary talent and formidable strength. Perhaps the 9 sacred temples will make an exception for you. That's right, what your beautiful sister means is what I mean. Gong Luoyu nodded. Oh, Chen Ziyuan probably understood but didn't care. He chuckled, it doesn't matter. If the 9 holy temples are unwilling to help us, then we can just open our own sect. That's right, we can open our own sect and recruit many young children as disciples. The meaning is the same, Chen Zihao said excitedly. People as smart as them must have thought of a way out for themselves. Open a sect, recruiting a lot of children. Why does it sound like a kindergarten? The meaning is the same, that's a huge difference. Li Maiajin and Gong Luoyu were speechless. Well, now that you are ready, let's go to the 9 holy temples. Forget it, as long as they are happy, I can't control them anyway. I am only responsible for taking care of the children. Okay. As they talked, they walked towards the 9 holy temples. But this combination is a bit strange, 2 beautiful monks holding 2 children in the middle, coming to the 9 holy temples. Shocked, a beautiful mother brought her child to worship at the sect. Therefore, she seemed out of place and independent. There were many cultivators coming and going around. Obviously, they also wanted to join the 9 Saints Temple, and their talents and strengths were not too bad. After noticing Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao, they would subconsciously look down and be stunned. I thought a beautiful monk would appear, but it turned out to be the kind with a baby. Forget it. Li Maiajin and Gong Luoyu didn't care about these gazes, but they couldn't help feeling pressured when they felt the aura of so many powerful people. In Tianyan Temple, they are the bosses, but here, they are just ordinary people. Soon, they arrived at the gate of the 9 holy temples. Following the principle of handling one's own affairs, Chen Ziyuan took the lead and raised his head to the gatekeeper disciples and said, My fellow disciples of the 9 Saints Temple, my brother and I are here to take the entrance examination for the 9 Saints Temple. We wish to be accepted into the 9 Saints Temple. While holding Chen Zihao's little hand, his eyes were extremely firm. Li Maiajin and Gong Luoyu watched quietly. If the 2 kids could solve the problem by themselves, they would certainly not interfere too much. However, the 9 Saints Temple is still powerful. Even the disciples guarding the gate are at the same level as them. The gatekeeper disciple was stunned when he saw the 2 serious little ones. They originally thought that it was Li Maiajin and Gong Luoyu who came to join their 9 Saints Temple, and they had already prepared themselves mentally to welcome them. But they didn't expect that it was actually 2 children. He could only laugh in silence and said, My 2 young Taoist friends, you are still young and do not meet the criteria for recruiting disciples in our 9 Saints Temple. Are you kidding? Are you taking her into practice taking care of children? Are you not practicing anymore? Is that a joke? Besides, no one would waste time taking care of 2 extra children. Many passing monks were speechless upon seeing this. It's already happening at such a young age. My own child doesn't have that kind of awareness. I'll give him a beating later. The 2 little ones heard this and thought to themselves that it was just as the beautiful sister and the fairy sister said. Chen Zihao was full of confidence. My fellow brothers, although we are still young, we are very powerful. That's right, my brother and I can definitely pass the entrance test, Chen Ziyuan said unconvinced. She suspected they were being underestimated. Seeing this, the gatekeeper was overwhelmed. He had never seen such a situation before. What should he do? They also looked at each other. All he could say was, the entrance exam to the 9 sacred temples is extremely dangerous. You will be in danger. It's not suitable. Of course, they wouldn't believe it, but there was nothing they could do. They couldn't argue about this matter seriously with the 2 kids. The monks watching the excitement were a little nervous. These 2 children looked to be about 3 years old, taking the entrance examination. Were they sure they wouldn't be chased and beaten during the examination? He is so good at bragging at such a young age. Even these strong men dare not make such a promise. After all, the entrance examination of the Nine Saints Temple is extremely difficult. Interesting, really interesting. It's okay, it's okay. The test won't be too difficult. That's right, we won't be in danger. There's nothing inappropriate. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao certainly didn't want to give up. Wouldn't it be too difficult? Wouldn't it be dangerous? The gatekeeper was completely stunned. He hadn't expected these two little masters. So stubborn, I didn't know how terrifying the entrance exam was. I couldn't explain it to them at all. I could only look at Li Mayaajin and Gong Luoyu. After all, they were the ones who came with their two children. He bowed and gestured, "Please take the two children and leave quickly. When they are of the right age, they can enter my 9 sacred temple." Chapter 59, Ancient Family Wang Family. Li Mayaajin was of course aware that since Ziyuan and Zihao were both children, the other party was already being very polite. But she still wanted to fight for it. He bowed and said, "As far as I know, the 9 Saints Temple doesn't have an absolute age limit for recruiting disciples. If the two children are favored by the 9 Saints Temple's masters, they can skip the entrance examination and directly become disciples. These two children are extremely talented. Please introduce one or two of them to the strong men of the 9 holy temples. I will definitely not let you down." Gong Luoyu also echoed. "Rules, they are made for ordinary people, and rules are always meant to be broken." They certainly did not doubt the talents of Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. The difficulty was that with their strength, it was difficult to help the two children meet the super-powerful people of the 9 holy temples and attract the attention of those powerful people in heaven and earth. Otherwise, there is definitely great hope. Hearing this, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao became excited. Although they couldn't quite understand what was going on, they felt that the beautiful sister and the fairy sister were helping them. Heard. The gatekeeper frowned slightly. They naturally knew this truth. As long as they were noticed by the major saints, no matter how young they were, they could directly pass the entrance examination. Not only could they become disciples of the 9 saint temples, but more importantly, they could directly become the personal disciples of the major powerful ones. This significance is extraordinary. After all, how powerful are the great saints? How could he possibly be interested in two children? Without some background, qualifications, and talent, it would be absolutely impossible. Otherwise, it would be extremely unfair to other ordinary disciples. After all, many ordinary disciples also go through the entrance examination and are screened layer by layer to become stronger, and then they may be noticed by the powerful Saint Lord level and accepted as a personal disciple. Having said that, "But where are you two from?" they had to ask clearly. The other party is so confident. If he really is a young ancestor from a top family, we cannot miss him. He might really have terrifying talent. But if it's not the case, and they go and inform the powerful ones of the 9 holy temples, and then cause a misunderstanding, then they must be tired of living. Upon hearing this, Li Mayaajin and Gong Luoyu were embarrassed. It was obviously about the background and origins of the two children, but they didn't know the origins of the two children's parents. As for the Tianyan Temple, where they were, it was obviously difficult to say it out loud in a place like the 9 Saints Temple. For a moment, I was conflicted and didn't know how to make a decision. Otherwise, it would definitely be counterproductive. "We are from the Pure World Valley. Yes, it's a very, very amazing place." Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao didn't think too much about it and blurted it out. "Pure World Valley." Hearing this strange place, the gatekeeper disciples were puzzled. They've never heard of this kind of place. What's so scary about it? Could it be that it's really amazing and they just don't know about it? The monks watching the excitement around them also showed confusion. Pure World Valley? They had thought the two children were full of confidence and indeed had some background, but they didn't expect it to be a place they had never heard of. For a moment, they felt embarrassed for them. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao nodded repeatedly, their little faces showing anticipation. Just when everyone was staring at each other, confused, a discordant voice suddenly rang out. "HMPH, bullshit Pure World Valley, this young master has never even heard of it. Where did you come from, wild kids, to have the courage to come to a place like the 9 Saints Temple?" A boy of 6 or 7 years old appeared, with a defiant look on his face at such a young age. As if he doesn't care about anything. His clothes and attire were extremely noble, and he was protected by many powerful men. His vehicles were all terrifying monsters, and it was obvious that he had a noble origin. After noticing the newcomer, many monks who were watching the fun made way for him, obviously feeling very fearful. The gatekeeper's expressions darkened upon seeing this. While the 9 saints wouldn't be afraid, They wouldn't say much either. Speaking up for two children of unknown origin didn't seem worth it. Bullshit Pure World Valley? Wild child. Li Maya-Ajin and Gong Loyu's faces changed drastically and they were filled with anger. I didn't know the other person's identity, but judging by their behavior, I knew they were quite impressive. But after realizing they were also an older teenager, I couldn't bring myself to say anything. It seems inappropriate to interfere in children's affairs, right? Don't you have hands and feet? Don't you have a mouth? Can't you discipline? Li Maya-Ajin could only question the strong man next to the young man in a cold voice. Or are you just gatekeepers? Gong Loyu's face was cold. Hurting someone for no reason. How unreasonable, but they didn't have much of a solution for that boy. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were stunned for a moment. I turned around and saw. My temper instantly flared up. The little face said unhappily, "Even we in the Pure World Valley haven't heard of it. You are the dog." Bullshit. You're the wild child, your whole family. Your whole family is made up of wild children. Their faces flushed with anger and their hands clenched. They weren't very good at swearing, but they could learn it on the spur of the moment. How dare you? The group of strong men were so angry after being secretly called dogs by Gong Loyu that they jumped up and down. How dare you disrespect my young master from the Wang family? Are you courting death? They were only there to escort the young master to the 9 sacred temples. How could they be qualified to discipline him? And these two little brats actually dared to talk back. But they were too embarrassed to lose their temper with Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao, so they could only vent their anger on Li Maya-Ajin and Gong Loyu. The young man's face turned red after being scolded in a childish voice by Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. How dare you? I am Wang Tianjiao, the eldest son of the ancient Wang family. How can you wild kids insult me? Wang Tianjiao's tone was condescending, and it was obvious that he was already used to this attitude. Then he grabbed Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao directly with full control of his momentum. Then let me teach you a lesson. I'll punish you for your disrespect. He had come to worship the 3 saints of the 9 saints temple as his disciples. His family had personally arranged the connection. Unexpectedly, he encountered 2 children who had come to the 9 saints temple just like him. In his eyes, ordinary children don't have such qualifications. To do otherwise is an insult and trampling on him. His pride won't allow him to ignore it. Not to mention that 2 kids younger than him dared to talk back to him, to scold him. Outrageous. Must be taught a lesson. Seeing this scene, many monks were shocked. How could it turn out like this? Parents scold each other, children hit each other. But to provoke a terrifying family like the ancient Wang family, not to mention the young master of the Wang family, is simply courting death. The 9 saints temple has to give them some face. To avoid getting dragged into the situation and getting into trouble, they quickly retreated. But those 2 little kids were probably going to get beaten up, no doubt about it. It was too tragic. The gatekeeper disciples were dumbfounded. Usually there was friction between the disciples, and they were there to suppress it. Now the kids are fighting. What should I do? This is the first time I've seen this happen. I can only pretend I didn't see it and treat it as a joke. It's also easy to find excuses to cover it up afterwards. However, the 2 children had come at the wrong time. It looked like they were about to be punished by the young master of the Wang family. There was nothing they could do. Li Maya-Ajin and Gong Loyu's pupils suddenly shrank, and fear spread in their hearts. The ancient family, the Wang family, even the 9 sacred temples had to give a bit of respect to such a terrifying, behemoth-like family. How could they possibly handle it? I think Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao's parents should be quite powerful. But can they handle such a terrifying family? This is an unknown. Fortunately, this was the 9 sacred temple, and any minor conflicts between the children could be ignored. They would not engage in battle with the powerful Wang family members, otherwise they would be stopped by the 9 sacred temple. It means that you are safe for now. Seeing Wang Tianjiao grabbing Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao, they were not too worried about this. When the strong men of the Wang family saw Wang Tianjiao teaching the 2 little kids a lesson, they had no intention of stopping him, nor did they dare to stop him. Anyway, the young master is incredibly gifted and possesses a holy body. His cultivation is terrifying. At only 6 years old, he's already condensed his golden elixir and reached the divine court realm. They are free to bully any child they want. There is no suspense, let alone 2 smaller kids. And they just had to stare at Li Maya-Ajin and Gong Loyu and not make a move, fair and just. Of course, they also had to give face to the 9 saints temple, and it was impossible for a real fight to happen here. Both sets of parents tacitly decided not to interfere, and Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao saw that Wang Tianjia wanted to beat them. The anger suddenly rose. Even the persimmons raised by the Wang family can't bully us. The one who grew up in the Wang family is the wild child. Chen Zihao was still thinking about this. Then they surrounded and beat him up. Chapter 60, the young master of the Wang family was beaten and cried. It was so cruel. The persimmon raised by the Wang family. Wang Tianjiao gnashed his teeth in anger. You are the ones who are being bullied. He roared in dissatisfaction, seeming a bit irritable. I'm determined to teach these two little brats a lesson. 1-on-2, absolutely worth it, and no need to be proud. However, after he rushed over, he found that Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao actually wanted to fight him head-on. He laughed, not to mention that he possesses a terrifying holy body. His cultivation alone must be far superior to his peers. Not to mention two little brats who are even younger than him. I wonder where the two little brats got the courage to face him. Do they think they are just playing house? Hut 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 hut. Pop. Before he could finish laughing, Wang Tianjia was punched in the face, and his smile froze visibly. Chen Ziyuan's attack was simple and rough. We are here to be taught a lesson by our father and mother. You are not qualified. That's right, sister is right. Chen Zihao took the opportunity to throw Wang Tianjia over his shoulder and threw him far away. With a loud bang, Wang Tianjia fell to the ground, stunned. Young master? Wang Tianjiao's guards were shocked. They had never thought that the young master would be crushed so easily, so they didn't even think about taking it, let alone expecting such a scene. After realizing what was happening, he quickly ran over. The monks who were watching the fun were stunned. Oh my God, these two kids are so terrifying. They beat up the young master of the Wang family so roughly. I never expected this. Is Pure World Valley really that powerful? The disciple guarding the gate was also confused. Could it be that these two kids really have some terrifying origins? Is Pure World Valley truly a truly amazing place that they don't know about? Li Maya-Ajin and Gong Loyu's mouths curled up, not surprised at all. It was as if Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were their own children. Young master? Many powerful men trembled. If anything happened to the young master, they would have to bring their heads to see the head of the family. But who knew that these two little brats were actually more powerful than the young master? Wang Tianjiao was stunned for a while before he realized that he had been beaten. It must have been an accident. I don't accept it. He ignored the powerful men who were accompanying him and jumped up again, grabbing towards Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. We must fight back. Desolate heaven, holy body. A golden light burst out from his body. How could the powerful ones dare to stop him? They also believed that it must have been an accident. The young master possessed the desolate heaven sacred body and was even at the divine court realm, so how could he be beaten? The monks who were watching the fun were amazed. What a terrifying holy body, the holy body of desolate heaven. His Tilda at such a young age. To have reached the divine court realm is truly rare. As expected of a man from an ancient family, he is also the highly regarded son of the Wang family's patriarch. Wang Tianjiao rushed forward with full confidence. I have the desolate heaven sacred body. You can't be my opponent. Pop. As soon as he finished speaking, he was punched in the face again. Then he felt his body was out of control and was thrown over his shoulder again in a simple and rough manner. Here we go again. Boom. Even though he possessed the holy body of desolate heaven, and even though he had reached the divine court realm, Wang Tianjia was still sent flying backwards once again. Is the desolate heaven holy body really that powerful? I don't think it's that great either. Sister, it's our turn to teach him a lesson. Chen Zihao pulled Chen Ziyuan and rushed over. I'm determined to teach him a lesson. Everyone was completely stunned and dumbfounded. The young master of the Wang family was beaten again. Once was an accident, but can it still be called an accident twice? His Tilda. These two little kids are so amazing. This is the first time I've seen kids fighting with such power, but they seem to have no experience. I'm speechless. Young master. A group of guards felt heartbroken as they watched the young master being beaten, but were unable to intervene. I don't accept it. Wang Tianjia was even more angry when he saw that Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao dared to rush towards him. He immediately went forward to meet the attack, but no matter how hard he tried, it seemed as if his strength was restrained, and he could not exert any power at all. This means these two kids are even better than him. How could he admit it? Pop. Boom. Wang Tianjia was beaten by Pang again, but Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao still looked unwilling to give in. I told you not to bully us. Who is bullying whom? Soon, after a few rounds, Wang Tianjia was already bruised and swollen, and almost cried. How outrageous! Wang Tianjiao's guards couldn't stand it any longer. Otherwise, I won't be able to explain myself when I get back. Do you want to interfere in the fight between children? Li Miaozhen immediately ran over to stop them. Could it be that the Huanggu Wang family can't afford to have fun? Gong Luoyu said unhappily. Anyway, it was just a fight, and no one could say anything. So even if they were no match for each other, they could still stand up and fight. Seeing this, the gatekeeper disciple also jumped out. He reminded her coldly, "It's just the kids playing around. Fighting is not allowed in the 9 sacred temples' important territory. Even the ancient royal family can't do that." However, they were wary of the 2 children's origins. Even the children were so powerful. Using a hammer to hold down the young master of the Wang family was simply cruel. Could this be a normal background? Seeing this, the guards dared to be angry but dared not say anything. But they had to give face to the 9 saints' temple here. Not to mention that it was just a fight between children, and their group of powerful accompanying men were actually useless. The head of the family didn't consider this when making the arrangements. He could only persuade Wang Tianjiao, "Master, stop fighting." How could Wang Tianjiao just let it go like this? "I don't accept." His will is extremely firm. Seeing that they couldn't persuade the young master and couldn't pull him back, the guards closed their eyes and didn't have the courage to look. Pub. Boom. Master. As expected, the young master was thrown back again. This time, Wang Tianjiao couldn't bear it anymore. Woo-woo. With tears in his eyes, he secretly hated himself for not living up to his expectations. He curled up on the ground and began to sob. Seeing Wang Tianjiao crying after being beaten by them, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao curled their lips. This guy is also very tough. The others looked at each other in surprise. They didn't expect that the young master of the Wang family was beaten to tears. It's so exciting. It turns out that children fighting can be so exciting. It can even be reversed back and forth. For a moment, the look in Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao's eyes changed. Even more powerful than Wang Tianjiao and younger than Wang Tianjiao. He is definitely a terrifying genius. But what realm were these 2 children at? Why was it so hard to tell? Could it be that a powerful being had hidden their cultivation? They were definitely stronger than Wang Tianjiao's divine court realm. The guards watched helplessly as the young master was beaten and cried, and were filled with anger for a moment. "I don't know how to comfort her," he said to the gatekeepers. "Our young master has come to worship the 3 holy masters as his disciple. Please take us to see the 3 holy masters. There's no other way, absolutely no other way. I can only get the job done first. I'll settle the score after I pay homage to the 3 saints." Li Miaozhen and Gong Luoyu quickly protected Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao behind them. Although the 2 children have reached the spirit transformation realm, and it is easy for them to defeat Wang Tianjiao, the ancient family is extremely powerful. If Wang Tianjiao worships a powerful person like the 3 saints of the 9 saints temple, it will definitely be disadvantageous to the 2 children and may even cause trouble. Of course, if both children could become disciples of the same saint, then the problem could be easily solved, or at least there wouldn't be too much trouble. Worship the 3 saints? Many monks could sense a subtle threat, but it was none of their business. Besides, these 2 children were equally capable, and it wasn't impossible for them to become disciples of a saint. At the same time, he showed an envious look. It is good to have a strong background. You don't even need to take the entrance examination to worship the Holy Lord. Heard. Of course, the gatekeeper disciple did not dare to be negligent. "I see, then follow me." This is what Li Miaozhen and the others had said before. Then he looked at Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao and said, "2 little guys, come with me." "Well, take them all away first, worth it." Everyone was envious, needless to say. This was a backdoor approach. Everyone in the Wang family was a little unhappy, but there was nothing they could do to stop them. These 2 little brats were so powerful, it would be abnormal if the 9 saints temple didn't notice them. There was nothing they could do. Li Miaozhen and Gong Luoyu knew this was the case. As long as the 2 children revealed their strength, they would definitely be valued by the 9 sacred temples. They had completely different attitudes. This represents a conflict of interest. They do not want their 2 children to be exposed to interests too early, but it seems that they cannot avoid it. Otherwise, it will be difficult to achieve their goals. Okay, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao felt that there was a chance. Looking at Wang Tianjiao, who was beaten to tears by them. After they join the 9 holy temples, they can teach him a lesson every day. But at this moment, a very surprised voice came. "Oh, they're actually 2 children in the fusion realm." Chapter 61. The 2 little ones are actually big guys in the fusion realm. It turned out that the top powerful people in the 9 holy temples had noticed some movement and showed up. Hearing this, everyone was shocked, and the strong man in the 9 saints temple appeared. But what did he say? 2 fusion-level cultivators. Are you kidding? They all immediately turned their gazes towards Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao, their faces filled with horror. It felt like they were the only 2 children the other party was talking about, and there were no other children here besides them. Then an old man appeared in front of them. Seeing this person, the gatekeeper disciples dared not look up. Greetings, great Saint Lord. Normally, they were not qualified to see the great Saint Lords, and the Saint Lords rarely showed up. Unexpectedly, the great Saint Lord actually showed up in person this time. And they said the 2 kids were at the fusion realm. My whole body was shaking. I felt like these 2 kids could beat 100 of them. The others were also surprised when they saw this. It turned out to be the most terrifying great Saint Lord of the 9 holy temples. The powerful men of the Wang family did not dare to be disrespectful. Greetings, great Saint Lord. But a storm of anxiety surged within him. What had the great Saint Lord said? These 2 little brats were actually at the fusion realm. Is this true or false? Fusion realm? The morning Wang Tianjiao stopped crying and his eyes went dark on the spot. It was too bullying. Not to mention the other monks, they all looked like they were seeing a little ancestor. Li Mayaajin and Gong Luoyu were completely confused. Fusion realm. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao are actually in the fusion realm, not the spiritual transformation realm. Oh my God, they haven't even had the right to know, after guarding the 2 little ones for so long. Seeing this, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were a little puzzled. Great Saint Lord, you can see through our cultivation. You must be very powerful, right? Everyone gasped when they saw this and broke into a cold sweat for them. They actually spoke directly to the great Saint Lord like this. What's even more terrifying is that the 2 children didn't deny it. They're truly at the fusion stage. This is too depressing. The great Saint Qin Tiandao laughed but didn't care. He only had eyes for the 2 little guys. Of course, because I have never seen a powerful person in the fusion realm as young as you. He was also shocked, but it couldn't be fake. The 2 children were at the fusion realm. And although a strong man in the fusion realm is nothing in their 9 holy temples, but such a small one, that's too terrifying. Oh, the 2 kids ignored Qin Tiandao, because they came to join the 9 holy temples, not to talk to Qin Tiandao. Everyone looked at each other, most afraid that the air would suddenly become quiet. Since the great Saint Lord didn't speak, they didn't dare to move. Qin Tiandao still didn't care. He just said with great anticipation, 2 little guys, are you willing to take me as your master? Hearing that the great sage was taking the initiative to accept a disciple, everyone was envious. But after thinking about it, it was normal, as they had never seen such a little pervert before. It was simply unbelievable, and for a moment I began to wonder what the pure world valley was. Everyone in the Wang family looked a little unhappy. It was obvious that Qin Tiandao wanted to protect the 2 little brats. Li Mayaajin and Gong Luoyu were delighted. It worked. As long as the 2 children became disciples of the great saint, everything would be solved. But I heard a sound. Great saint, we don't want to. We are here to join the 9 saint temples, not to become your disciples. That's right, great Saint Lord, don't think too much. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao refused directly. They didn't want a master. No one was as powerful as their father anyway. They just came to get the help that the 9 saints temple could provide them for free. Unwilling, as soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned again. They are still unwilling. Li Mayaajin and Gong Luoyu were completely dumbfounded. What was the point of all the talk we just had? And you didn't listen. Don't think too much? Qin Tiandao laughed dumbly. Ha, I'm overthinking it. I'm not in a hurry for your reply. Then, great Saint Lord, can we join the 9 holy temples? Chen Ziyuan asked in return. Yes, great Saint Lord. Can we get the protection of the 9 holy temples? Everyone was speechless. Not only did they reject the great Saint Lord, but they also wanted to join the 9 holy temples. It felt a bit contradictory. It sounded like they wanted to get something for free. Qin Tiandao naturally would not refuse. Of course, the 9 Saints Temple welcomes you. Don't be in a hurry. It's easy to trick the 2 kids into becoming his disciples. With time, it will eventually work. Very good. We have joined the 9 holy temples. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao jumped up happily. From now on, I can teach the Wang family's children a lesson every day. That's right. Everyone's faces immediately darkened. Many powerful members of the Wang family were so angry that they vomited blood. They actually threatened to teach their young master a lesson every day under their noses. They couldn't refute it. And Wang Tianjiao himself was offended. the persimmons that grew up in the Wang family. Qin Tiandao then looked at Wang Tianjiao and others. So it's the young master of the Huanggu Wang family. These two kids are just innocent and like to play around, so you don't have to take them to heart. Of course, he had heard about Wang Tianjiao's plan to become a disciple of the three saints. Everyone felt that the great saint was blatantly biased. The great saint is right, but the powerful men of the Wang family dared not talk nonsense. Even though he knew he was being partial, he could only nod his head repeatedly and had no temper towards the two kids. Qin Tiandao nodded. The third Saint Lord has something to do, otherwise he would come to pick you up personally. Okay, go see him. The strong man of the Wang family bowed, and then reluctantly took the unwilling Wang Tianjiao to see the three holy lords. Qin Tiandao looked at the two children and liked them very much, except that they were a little naughty. What are your names? My name is Chen Ziyuan. I'm Chen Zihao. Okay, Ziyuan and Zihao, please follow me. Okay, great saint. Beautiful sister, fairy sister, let's go quickly. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao did not forget to shout. But Li Maiaj and Gong Luo Yue felt a little weak. Qin Tiandao didn't care. Two disciples from Tianyan Temple come too. I don't know what their relationship is, but the aura of Tianyan Kung Fu cannot be fake. If he wanted to trick the two children into becoming his disciples, he might be able to start with the two female cultivators and ask Li Maiarajan and Gong Luoyu to speak well of him. Only after getting the permission from the great Saint Lord did Li Maiarajan and Gong Luoyu breathe a sigh of relief. Thank you, great saint. It would be impossible without tremendous pressure. Difficult to avoid the insight of such a powerful person. Seeing them leave with Qin Tiandao, many cultivators were envious. They went out through the back door and walked right in front of us. I can't envy him, but being able to see the great saint master in person is worth the trip. Several gatekeeper disciples glared at each other. If they had brought the two children in earlier, they might have even gotten some credit. But now, the credit was snatched away by the great saint himself. Fairyland. Ancient Zio Fairyland. The Su family is also a well-known big family here. Although it is not the top family, it is not too far behind. At this moment, the entire Su family was inexplicably banned by a powerful person and was shrouded in a haze, so that the entire Su family was controlled by others and was at the mercy of others. Su Kingsu was also sealed. After she was called back by her family, she couldn't leave. Chapter 62. The Su family of ancient Zio immortal realm. Su Kingsu's face was frosty. How could she not know that the Su family was controlled by the Huangdi Palace, and therefore she was recalled to become a handle for the Huangdi Palace to deal with the Jidao Imperial Palace? Ziyao. She knew very well that the palace master and Zia Ziyao had already taken action against the desolate Emperor Palace. But now she had become a breakthrough point at this critical moment, which would inevitably affect the plans of the palace master and Zia Ziyao. It even made the already extremely risky and low-success plan even worse. If everything failed because of her, the consequences would be disastrous, and she would have no face to face the palace master and Zia Ziyao. Thinking of this, Su Kingsu closed her eyes in pain, tears flashing in her eyes. I'm sorry. She wanted to deal with the Su family's affairs as soon as possible and go back to help, but before she even went, she had already made things worse. She also knew that with her strength, she could not break the seal or leave the Su family. Even the elders of their Su family do not have such ability, because this was the work of the desolate Emperor Palace. The desolate Emperor Palace sent two powerful immortals to control their Su family. How could the Su family be a match for the desolate Emperor Palace? The rest of the Su family was also in a state of panic and trepidation. They had never expected that the desolate Emperor Palace would actually target their Su family in order to deal with the extreme Dao Imperial Palace. Their Su family was no match for the desolate Emperor Palace and could not resist at all. They also could not bear the consequences of this. Now that they were sealed, they could only sit and wait for death, unable to do anything. They only hoped that the desolate Emperor Palace would release them after achieving their goal. Su Jiazhu, the head of the Su family, had an extremely heavy expression on his face. He looked at his crying daughter and seemed to be hesitant to speak. Kingsu, it's Dad's fault. Dad shouldn't have asked you to come back. But who knew that the desolate Emperor Palace would be so unscrupulous? They fell into the trap. When their daughter entered the Jidao Imperial Palace, they naturally assumed that the Su family was willing to bear the consequences of the Jidao Imperial Palace. But now it was a fight between gods, and the innocent were affected, so they had no choice. As soon as he called his daughter back, people from the Huangdi Palace appeared, turned against him and took control of the entire Su family. By the time he realized what was happening, it was too late. Su Kingsu shook her head painfully. "Dad, I don't blame you. It was my fault for neglecting this matter. I am sorry for Xiao." She knew more. The desolate Emperor Palace undoubtedly wanted to use her, to force Xia Xiao into marriage. She didn't dare to imagine. Su Jiazhu had also heard of the new immortal emperor in Jidao Imperial Palace, and he had a very good relationship with his daughter. In this way, my daughter would be affected by the karma of Xia Xiao. It was too late to say anything. If I couldn't deal with it now, the consequences would be unpredictable. Kingsu, Dad will find a way to send you away. Dad, if I leave, the Huangdi Palace will never let the Su family go. Besides, the two immortals are guarding this place, and I can't leave. Su Kingsu shook her head in despair. No matter what choice she made, it would be wrong. Su Jiazhu naturally understood this. But if you don't leave, how will you face the consequences if something goes wrong in the Jidao Imperial Palace? Or if the Huangdi Palace fails to achieve its goal and destroys the entire Su family in anger, you won't be able to escape. Since both choices are wrong, then Dad, as the head of the family, must consider the overall situation. At least, you can have a glimmer of hope. He was not sure in his heart, but he was also at the level of immortal venerable, just not as powerful as the two immortal venerables in the palace of the wilderness emperor. Only by trying hard can there be a glimmer of hope. If they don't, there's no chance at all. Of course, the consequences of failure will be equally difficult for them to accept and may even backfire. Hearing this, Su Kingsu was in great pain and seemed to be in a struggle. "Go, you can't escape." At this time, two great immortals from the palace of the wilderness emperor appeared. "The emperor's plan must not fail. You can't escape even if you have wings. Your Su family should pray that the emperor's son can gain something. Otherwise, your Su family can't blame me, the desolate emperor palace, for being ruthless. They are the strong ones who are responsible for controlling the Su family. Naturally, they cannot watch the Su family have problems. The emperor's son left early due to some matters, so they dared not be careless at all. Otherwise, if anything goes wrong, they will be held responsible. Now they just have to wait for the prince to achieve his goal. Afterwards, they are too lazy to care about the Su family. After all, it would not be good if it got out. The palace master also asked them to be secretive, otherwise they would not be able to control the Su family secretly. And if something goes wrong with the emperor's son, they will definitely take action against the Su family themselves." But just as they finished speaking, a terrifying force suddenly descended. Not good, the two immortals' faces changed. When Su Jiazhu and Su Kingsu saw this, they stopped pretending. Their faces were cold, and without saying a word, they activated the formation and rushed towards the two immortals. Good opportunity. These two immortal lords have finally appeared. Bai Yuan isn't here, so if they don't turn against us now, when will they? They had no way to deal with Bai Yuan, but now that Bai Yuan was gone, they might be able to deal with the two immortal lords. After all, the Su family's wealth is not just for show. They can afford to squander some of it. Su Jiazhu also shouted, "Everyone, follow me and activate the family formation, crush the enemy." The many powerful men of the Su family did not eat in vain. In fact, they had already prepared for it and did not need the head of the family to remind them. "Dad, I will break the seal here." Su Kingsu's face was cold. Sitting there and waiting for death is impossible. It's also impossible not to rebel. As long as we defeat these two immortals, the others won't be a concern. They will be able to escape our control, and then everything will fall apart. The clan's immortal weapon, the Red Soul Ancient Spear. At the same time, Su Kingsu held a long spear in her hand. This is the Su family's treasure. Although she doesn't have the power of an immortal venerable now, she will have the combat power of an immortal venerable after possessing the Red Soul Ancient Spear. Similarly, as a disciple of the Jidao Imperial Palace, she is best at finding weaknesses, breaking formations, breaking forbidden barriers, and so on. And the Red Soul Ancient Spear will undoubtedly amplify her abilities infinitely. As long as it can be successful, it is not unacceptable even if the Red Soul Ancient Spear backfires on oneself. Break! The sharp edge went away. The huge crimson spear spirit crashed into the ceiling barrier. In an instant, the barrier began to crack, and its power leaked out. Good opportunity. Su Jiazhu didn't dare to neglect it because they were also gambling big. Even though they were controlled by the desolate Emperor Palace, how could they accept it? The clan protection formation rise. My daughter is responsible for using the Red Soul Ancient Spear to reach the level of combat power of an immortal venerable to break the restriction. Their target is, of course, the two immortal venerables. As long as the two immortals are suppressed, everything will fall apart. From the moment he realized he was being plotted against, he had already been preparing for a response. He repeatedly tolerated, compromised, and kept his edge low, all in order to let the other party down, so he could catch them by surprise. This would achieve the best results and give them a glimmer of hope for resistance. Do you think that only the palace of the Wilderness Emperor would scheme? Boom! With Su Kingsu's ability to break the restriction's weaknesses, coupled with the power of the terrifying formation, the restriction was already on the verge of bursting. Chapter 63, Su Kingsu's Trouble. Not good. The two immortal lords from the desolate Emperor Palace froze upon seeing this. They were tricked. Then he became furious. The Emperor's son was not here. Did he think they were made of paper? The Su family must not allow any mistakes. Otherwise, if something unexpected happens to the Emperor's son, they will be held responsible, and the consequences will be disastrous. He snorted coldly. Even so, do you think you can escape from us? At the same time, they both suppressed it with one hand. The terrifying pressure from the powerful immortal lord erupted. One of them was at the 8th level of immortal venerable, and the other was at the 6th level. If they could be tricked by Su Jiaju, who was at the 2nd level of immortal venerable, that would be absolutely unacceptable. And Su Jiaju was not willing to be outdone. 9 Provinces' ancient sword? This is his immortal weapon, and the degree of compatibility is extremely high. At the same time, 9 long swords surrounded Su Jiaju's body, jointly activating the clan protection formation, erupting with even more terrifying power. Even if you are stronger than me, as long as Bai Yuan is not here, don't even think about letting my Su family be slaughtered. It is impossible to kill the other party, but as long as they can escape, they can still achieve their goal. Boom! Su Jiaju's cultivation was far inferior, but he relied on his own trump card and the strong family background to temporarily block the two immortal masters. Of course, he himself would not feel good either. Su Kingsu held the Red Soul ancient spear, and her eyes had begun to turn red. They don't have much time left. Then cooperate with Su Jiaju to fight against the two immortals of the Huangdi Palace. Even if she can't hold him, she must force him to retreat. Then she can escape. Looking for death. This unexpected incident made the two immortal lords of the desolate Emperor Palace hold back their anger. But the Su family was still not weak after all. Even if the two of them had a higher cultivation level, they were facing the entire Su family's foundation. Without the Emperor's son, it would be difficult for them to suppress it with absolute power and quickly resolve the current trouble. Then he immediately set his sights on Su Kingsu. Although Su Kingsu relied on the Red Soul ancient spear to exert the combat power of an immortal lord, she was still relatively weak and was even counterattacked by the Red Soul ancient spear. One immortal immediately restrained Su Jiaju, while the other grabbed Su Kingsu directly. He said coldly, "Even if the Su family is out of control, the result will be the same if we catch you." They knew very well that Su Kingsu was the most important. Controlling Su Kingsu would also mean they were still in control of the Su family. Seeing this, Su Jiaju's expression changed drastically, but he was mostly focused on defense and couldn't split himself up. "Kingsu, be careful." Su Kingsu secretly thought that something was wrong. How could she be a match for a true immortal master? This will definitely be disadvantageous to them. But it has come to this point, it's like gambling. The only option is to fight for your life. Perhaps it can also buy time for the palace master and Zia Jiao. Maybe the palace master and Zia Jiao will be able to find a way to deal with the Huangdi Palace, and then free themselves to save their Su family. She must not become a burden. I just don't know how long this time will be. I must succeed. Su Kingsu's belief constantly comforted herself. Although it is difficult, this is her last good wish. Under the backlash of the Red Soul ancient spear, Su Kingsu's whole body began to glow scarlet. Kill, he went away again with the Red Soul ancient spear. Boom! A terrible collision, shaking all directions. After just one encounter, Su Kingsu's body was hit by the terrifying force, followed by a muffled groan. The gap in cultivation is still too big. His face looked grim for a moment. Seeing this, the immortal lord sneered. "After all, you only rely on the power of the immortal weapon. How can you be my opponent?" And the Jidao Imperial Palace dared to attack my Huangdi Palace and even injured the palace master. If it weren't for the Emperor's son restraining Zia Jiao from harming you. Otherwise, I would definitely show no mercy. Since Leng Jiushuang dared to do this, it meant that the Jidao Imperial Palace and their Huangdi Palace had completely fallen out. That meant they were mortal enemies, and Su Kingsu was a disciple of the Jidao Imperial Palace, so there was no need to show any mercy. But the emperor had instructed that Su Kingsu must not be harmed before his goal was achieved. Otherwise, Su Kingsu would lose her usefulness, which would be counterproductive and ruin the emperor's plan. At the same time, the immortal grabbed Su Kingsu again. Su Kingsu didn't know what happened over there, but the lord of the desolate Emperor Palace was injured, which meant that the palace master and Jiao's plan was successful. This would mean a complete fallout between the two major factions. It was conceivable that her current situation would only become more dangerous. If they weren't still useful, they would probably be wiped out directly. She wasn't quite sure why Bai Yuan was controlling the Su family, but she figured it was to get Zia Jiao. Su Kingsu suddenly laughed bitterly. At least she was halfway there. So as long as she died, Zia Jiao wouldn't be threatened and Bai Yuan wouldn't achieve his goal. Jiao, revenge for me. Then Su Kingsu's aura began to rise steadily, and the red soul ancient spear in her hand became increasingly scarlet. There's no need to delay, because there's a better way. Su Kingsu walked towards him, her will becoming extremely firm. With this blow, she was ready to fall. The determination to die. Suicide is impossible. She would rather die in battle. Kingsu, after realizing his daughter's condition, Su Jiazhu was completely panicked. Using secret methods to temporarily improve one's cultivation is equivalent to hurting 1,000 enemies and hurting oneself by thousands. It can also be sensed that Su Kingsu is going to fight to the death, completely disregarding her own life or death. Then what is the meaning of everything he does as a father? With a roar, he rushed forward to kill. The immortal venerable was shocked when he saw Su Kingsu in this state. But he wouldn't panic too much. Even if I want to die, I can't. Su Kingsu must not have any accident, even if she commits suicide to protect Zia Jiao. They were the first to disagree. Then just stop it and leave. But at this moment, his expression changed drastically. Obviously, he had received some message. The palace master has fallen. The emperor's son has fallen. How is it possible? The sudden nightmare was difficult for him to accept, let alone believe. Otherwise, what is the point of everything they are doing now? But they couldn't help but believe it, because the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night appeared again. The immortal didn't know what exactly happened, but his expression became extremely frightened. Seeing that Su Kingsu was going to fight him to the death, he was too lazy to get entangled. Die. Su Kingsu is no longer valuable. Similarly, they cannot use Su Kingsu to threaten the Jidao Imperial Palace. Their strength does not allow it, otherwise they will only die faster. We must leave here as soon as possible. Kingsu, Su Jiazhu rushed forward, not knowing why this immortal suddenly wanted to kill him, and his face changed drastically again. Faced with this murderous intent, Su Kingsu didn't know why the immortal master of the Huangdi Palace had such a sudden change. But she no longer had time to think about it. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter whether she can block it or not. He walked forward without looking back and just said, "Dad, I'm sorry." However, just as she finished her words, she noticed two rays of light piercing through the two immortal lords of the desolate Emperor Palace with a crushing attitude. With a bang, the two super strong men were actually like paper. They were blown to pieces, without any power to resist at all. I also heard a sound. Kingsu. Chapter 64, Zia Jiao's little husband is here. Hearing this voice, Su Kingsu felt that she was still one step too late to die, and her farewell to her father was in vain. But how could she not know that it was Zia Jiao who came? Saved, there was a smile on his face. Then she could no longer hold on due to the backlash of the red soul ancient spear and the exhaustion of her strength, falling straight down from the sky. While falling in mid-air, she struggled to turn her head and look. She could vaguely sense who was coming. It was indeed Zia Jiao. But why did Zia Jiao, who had always stayed away from men, bring a man with her? This made her very curious. Chen Zhana and Zia Jiao, a couple, rushed over and killed the two immortals easily. Then they saw this scene and flew away immediately. Kingsu, Zia Jiao hurriedly hugged Su Kingsu, and at the same time took action to suppress the power of the red soul ancient spear, so as to prevent herself from being repelled and hurt. Fortunately, they arrived at the critical moment. Otherwise, if the couple had talked about love for a while longer along the way, the strong men from the palace of the Emperor of Desolation would have killed them. This is also what they are worried about. They are afraid that knowing that Emperor Jun Beiyuan has fallen will make these strong men want to kill him, so they come to kill without stopping. Su Jiazhu breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that his opponent was also killed. Kingsu, he immediately went to check on his daughter's condition. Su Kingsu had just been determined to die, and as a father, how could he not see that? He had almost ended up in a life of separation. Fortunately, I am rescued now, and everything can be saved. Then he looked at Zia Jiao and Chen Junai and said, "Thank you both for your help." Kingsu was attacked by the Red Soul Ancient Spear, and because of her reckless attack, I'm afraid her foundation will be damaged, but her life is not in danger. He had never seen Zia Jiao, but he thought she must be the immortal emperor secretly cultivated by the Jidao Imperial Palace. She was indeed terrifying. As for Chen Junai, he didn't recognize her either. In any case, it didn't come to that. Zia Jiao nodded. "Master Su, you're welcome. It's all because of me that Kingsu and the Su family are in this situation, but she's fine now. Since Kingsu fainted, let her rest." Chen Junai originally wanted to ask Su Kingsu what illness she had, but when he saw her current appearance, he gave up. The next moment, Su Kingsu was found trying hard to open her eyes. He said weakly, "Jiao, I'm not fainted yet. Who is he?" Zia Jiao said speechlessly, "It's more important for you to rest first. Why are you bothering about my husband?" She didn't offer much comfort because she knew Su Kingsu had no choice in that situation. "Oh, I'm fine. It's just that the Red Soul Ancient Spear doesn't suit my temperament, so it turned me against." "Your husband," Su Kingsu almost shouted out after she reacted. He was no longer confused, and his eyes were wide open. "Zia Jiao's little husband is here. How is that possible? Then I have to hold on no matter what. Grit your teeth and persevere. Kingsu, you should rest first." Su Jiaju couldn't bear it anymore. His daughter was injured like this, but she still had the mind to care about others. "Someone come here." He immediately called several maids and took Su Kingsu away. However, the fact that an immortal emperor is getting married is indeed quite curious, but no one dares to ask too much. "Oh, Tilda, Dad, wait, wait." Su Kingsu's voice gradually faded away, and she could only be taken away to recuperate. Chen Junai and Zia Jiao were speechless. It seemed that Su Kingsu was not seriously injured. Su Jiaju then said, "You two, please come into my Su family for a chat." Since the immortal emperor of the Jidao Imperial Palace had arrived, he naturally had many questions he wanted to clarify. After all, they had been under lockdown for a long time and had no idea what was going on. Then Chen Junai and Zia Jiao stayed in the Su family temporarily. It didn't matter where they fell in love. The Imperial Palace of Jidao, Leng Jushuang is currently handling follow-up matters. With the death of Emperor Jun and Bai Yuan, the Palace of the Desolate Emperor is actually no longer a big threat to them. However, they still have to turn the Palace of the Desolate Emperor upside down to prevent it from reviving. Otherwise, the Yang'ai Immortal Emperor, the son-in-law of the Imperial Palace, will probably not be satisfied. As for the Fucian Holy Land, it is more about the grudges with their Jidao Imperial Palace, and the threat is relatively small. But on this day, people from Qingshuan Taoist sect suddenly came to the door. It is very likely that it is related to their son-in-law in the Imperial Palace, so Leng Jushuang must go to see him in person. "Why did Great Elder Qingshuan come to my Jidao Imperial Palace?" At this moment, Leng Jushuang looked at the person who came. Of course, she had some guesses in her mind. The Great Elder hadn't spotted Chen Junai and was inevitably anxious. "Palace Master of the Imperial Palace, do you know where Chen, Eternal Knight Immortal Emperor, is now?" As for what happened here before, he was not very interested and wanted to meet Chen Junai in person. Leng Jushuang thought to himself that this was indeed the case. He was here to find Chen Junai. He said calmly, "The Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is the son-in-law of my Jidao Imperial Palace. Do I need to explain his whereabouts to your Qingshuan Dao sect?" The son-in-law of the Imperial Palace. The Great Elder was stunned by the question. What woman abducted Chen Junai? His expression turned a little ugly. "Palace Master of the Imperial Palace, what do you mean by this?" Leng Jushuang figured that Chen Junai probably didn't want to bother with the Qingshuan Dao sect, so naturally, their Jidao Imperial Palace wouldn't push Chen Junai out. "That's what I mean on the surface. Great Elder Qingshuan, please speak directly. If there's nothing else, this Palace Master won't bother to accompany you." Seeing that Leng Jushuang didn't want to explain further, the Great Elder had no choice but to say, "Wait a minute. We would like to meet the Eternal Knight Immortal Emperor. Please let the Palace Master know." But now he understood that Chen Junai had returned to the immortal world and was already married. Then perhaps the previous events were all related to Chen Junai's wife. And this lady is the woman from Jidao Imperial Palace. No wonder Chen Junai's personality changed so much. It turns out he was having a love affair. "I can't make the decision on this." Leng Jushuang refused. If there is nothing else, Great Elder Kingshuan should leave. The Great Elder was naturally unwilling to give up. He waited for Chen Junai to appear again with great difficulty. Wait, Palace Master of the Imperial Palace, this matter is of great importance. I must see the immortal Emperor Eternal Night in person to explain it clearly. What does it have to do with me? Leng Jushuang's tone was a little heavier. If the immortal Emperor Yang wants to see you, he will naturally meet you. Why does he need me to act as a matchmaker? Leave immediately, or don't blame me for being ruthless. Although she was grateful to Kingshuan Dao Zong in her heart, she also had to make her attitude clear. After all, the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor was abducted by Xia Xiao, and she had no say in the matter. The Great Elder, was speechless. If he could meet Chen Junai casually, would he come here? If Chen Junai was willing to see them, he would not have come here. This time, Chen Junai finally showed up. If I don't seize the opportunity to explain clearly, I don't know when the next time will be. But at this moment, a strong man came running. Palace Master. Several demonic caves have appeared in the Jishiandao Immortal Realm. Chapter 65. The Demon Cave appears, the demons invade. What? Leng Jushuang didn't bother to pay attention to the elder, with a cold look on his face. The demonic cave has appeared. Could it be that the demonic abyss is about to invade my 33 immortal realms again? Where does this confidence come from? You must know that the Demon Emperor had been suppressed and sealed by Chen Junai. Even if there are still other powerful demons in the demon abyss now, they are obviously no match for the 33 immortal realms. What's the situation now? The strong man said. The demon cave has appeared, and there are also many shadows of the demon abyss army, but they don't seem to be making any rash moves to invade the immortal realm. Leng Jushuang narrowed his eyes slightly, but didn't act rashly. Could it be that the demons were planning something? No matter what, send people to suppress them first. Never allow the demons to expand in my Jishiandao immortal realm. The demons' invasion was definitely to rob their immortal realm's resources, which would inevitably harm the interests of their Jidao Imperial Palace, so they couldn't just sit back and watch. Also, notify the other major immortal sects and respond with all your strength. Of course, other immortal sects cannot just watch. They need to unite with powerful forces from all sides to suppress it. Yes, Palace Master. After this strong man left, the Great Elder's face also looked grim. Isn't this just bringing up something that is not related to the topic? How could such a change happen? You must know that the reason why Chen Junai was forced to leave the sect due to his exhausted cultivation was closely related to the invasion of the demons into the 33 immortal realms. As a result, when he came to see Chen Junai, something like this happened. Isn't this just rubbing salt into Chen Junai's wounds? Then it would be even more impossible for him to meet them. What? Great Elder Kingshuan isn't leaving yet? I'm afraid your Nantian immortal realm will also be invaded by the demons. Leng Jushuang reminded. Although I don't know what the appearance of the demon cave means, it is not out of control yet. The Great Elder was embarrassed. This was certainly possible. But he didn't want to make the trip in vain. The Emperor's Palace Master is right. The appearance of the demon cave and the demons invading the immortal realm again is definitely not a good thing. It just so happens that I met the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night to explain this very thing. Get out, Leng Jushuang couldn't bear it anymore. We must make our stance clear to the Kingshuan Dao sect. There's no way we're going to hand over the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Otherwise, the Jidao Imperial Palace might end up losing Xia Xiao. The Great Elder's expression suddenly froze, but with Leng Jushuang's attitude, he really couldn't continue. He could only snort coldly and leave angrily, unwilling to accept the result. Leng Jushuang's expression flickered slightly. Devil's Cave, Devil's Abyss. She suspected the demons were invading the immortal realm this time out for revenge. Since the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night had reappeared, the demons must have known about it, and they likely wouldn't let go of what happened back then. This is to avenge the Demon Emperor, and the target is Chen Junai. But Chen Junai should have been even more powerful. Would the demons come to seek revenge on him like this? Isn't this courting death? This doesn't make sense. What's the demon clan's source of confidence? Or has an even more powerful demon emerged from the demonic abyss? Thinking of this, Leng Jushuang's face changed slightly. This is not impossible. Now that the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is in my extreme Dao Imperial Palace, then this karma will eventually come to fruition. If this is really the case, then it is conceivable that their Jidao Imperial Palace will inevitably become a thorn in the eyes of the demons because of Chen Junai, and it will inevitably be even more troublesome. In addition, Chen Junai had offended many top immortal sects in his search for Zia Jiao. Although they did not dare to talk nonsense, their attitude towards their Jidao imperial palace inevitably changed. Since we are here, we should make the best of it. Leng Jushuang couldn't predict what would happen, but with Chen Junai here, it shouldn't be a big problem. At the same time, demonic caves suddenly appeared in all the major immortal realms. The demons invaded the fairy world again, making the atmosphere tense and restless for a while. They sent strong men to investigate. The weaker immortal sects were even more panicked. Oh no, a demonic lair has appeared. Those demons from the demon abyss are about to invade our fairyland again. The demons really don't give up. Why are you panicking? The demon emperor was already suppressed by our immortal realm's eternal night emperor back then. What kind of trouble can another invasion cause? Besides, the immortal emperor of eternal night is now even more powerful, and he caused quite a stir before. Even if the demons come to attack, the many immortal realms will certainly not be in vain. That makes sense. However, this time the demons invaded the fairyland too suddenly. Could it be that a more powerful demon emperor has appeared? Otherwise, how could the demons have such confidence? I don't know, but the appearance of the demons is too coincidental. You have to know that it has only been a short time since the Eternal Night Emperor returned. I'm afraid the demons are seeking revenge and are coming for the Eternal Night Emperor. So, Qingshuan Dao sect is in trouble. Wrong, it's the Jidao Imperial Palace. There have been rumors that the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor has left the Qingshuan Dao sect and has no connection with it. On the other hand, the Jidao Imperial Palace seems to have some connection with the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. The Jidao Imperial Palace is in trouble. That's wrong. It's said that the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is about to enter the realm of absolute immortality and can destroy the three emperors. He is infinitely more powerful than before. It will not be easy for the demons to seek revenge, let alone implicate the Jidao Imperial Palace. Similar remarks gradually became more and more common, and in the southern sky fairyland, the same situation is also happening. Qingshuan Dao sect, the disciples of the sect were even more panicked. The appearance of the demon cave and the invasion of the demons would be a huge blow to the top immortal sect if they could not deal with it well. Not to mention that their Qingshuan Dao sect had a huge relationship with the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Who knows whether the invading demons will seek revenge and take out their anger on their Qingshuan Dao sect. Even if they can cope with it, they don't want to see more serious consequences. Mo Qingru's face darkened when she heard about this. This day had arrived much sooner than she had imagined. Could this be what the sect master and the others have been guarding against? But my junior brother is so powerful now. It seems that the things that the sect leader and others are worried about will not come true. Even if the demons wanted to seek revenge on their junior brother, it would not be easy. Sect leader Yi Qingshuan was quite emotional. This day has finally come. For a moment, he felt that expelling Chen Junai from the sect was the right decision. At least it could dilute the cause and effect, preventing the invading demons from targeting their Qingshuan Dao sect and bringing about a greater disaster. But Chen Junai is so powerful now, it seems that this is not true. Human hearts are complicated, and it is just the cycle of cause and effect. This time, the demon invasion is extremely strange. This happened not long after Chen Junai returned. It was obviously not a coincidence. Are you really here for revenge? Chen Junai has become even more powerful. Would the demons be so stupid? There is no way to know, but it must be related to Chen Junai. However, the fact that Chen Junai destroyed 3 emperors in anger for a woman feels a bit strange. He's changed. In a forbidden area somewhere in the fairyland, there is an even larger demon cave here. The most powerful demon clan appeared here to incite the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to rebel. Strengthen the demon clan. Chapter 66. This compensation is for a lifetime. Whether the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night will intervene, if we do this depends on what happens next. If the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night doesn't intervene, it means he doesn't care about the interests of the immortal realm, and our chances of success are greater. But if the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night intervenes, what should we do? With his current power, he could easily suppress us. Of course, we'll run away. Even if he can easily suppress us, he won't be able to stop us from running back to the demon abyss. Of course, it's not certain. As many as can escape count. For such a dangerous situation and the possibility of being beaten to death by him, is it worth it? Of course it's worth it. The power of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor is inherently inclined towards darkness, which is a good foundation for becoming a demon, a godsend opportunity. If he can become possessed for once, we can take advantage of his weakness, and the demon clan will have the chance to rise. It would be difficult to make the immortal emperor of Eternal Night go astray. That's why we have to focus on attacking Qingshuan Dao sect. Why? The immortal Emperor Yang is no longer in the Qingshuan Dao sect. It seems that he went to the Jidao Imperial Palace and became a Taoist partner with a woman. Oh, tilde interesting. This way, we can kill two birds with one stone. We can recruit one and give one away. It's a win-win situation. And attacking Qingshuan Dao sect is of course to test the attitude of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Moreover, the Immortal Emperor Yang previously destroyed 3 immortal emperors. This was clearly an internal struggle within the human race. This opportunity must be missed. This is simply God helping me. That makes sense. But what if the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night becomes a demon, and the women in the Jidao Imperial Palace are unwilling to be with him? This shows that they are not in true love, so it's better not to have it. Besides, when the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night becomes the demon emperor of my demon clan, if she doesn't want to, then I can just snatch her away. That's not good. Forced marriages aren't sweet, and it's easy to break a relationship. Nonsense, what are you talking about? Hurry up and do something. A group of demons were discussing their plans, one after another. Su family, everything returned to calm, and the Su family looked like they had survived a disaster. It was almost like that. The young lady was almost beaten to death. Thinking about it still makes me shudder, but fortunately the trouble is over. The powerful immortal emperors from the Jidao Imperial Palace have come to help. After Chen Zhanai and Xia Jiao explained the situation to Su Jiazhu, they went to visit Su Qingsu. Now, Su Qingsu was still soundly asleep. Perhaps it was the after-effects of her brief burst of energy as she fainted after coming to her senses. This shows that she did suffer severe physical trauma. Xia Jiao stayed by her side, feeling somewhat guilty as she watched Su Qingsu lying unconscious on the bed. Fortunately, her husband showed up, otherwise Su Qingsu might have been beaten to death. If she was implicated, she would feel guilty for the rest of her life. Seeing that Su Qingsu still showed no signs of waking up, she could only go and accompany her husband. Walk out of the curtain. Chen Jun, I said. Don't worry, madam. Although she has some injuries, they are not irreparable. Once she wakes up, she can be nurtured with natural resources and treasures, and she can recover. At the same time, he hugged Xia Jiao in his arms. Since this had happened to Su Qingsu, he had to comfort his wife. Xia Jiao smiled when she heard this. Husband, I'm not worried. Since my husband has said so, then there will definitely be no problem for Su Qingsu. In addition, although it sounded cruel, she did have to thank Su Qingsu for fainting. After all, this was the first time that the couple had been together in this capacity. It would be a lie to say that she didn't feel a bit strange when her little husband suddenly became so powerful. Now that Su Qingsu is in trouble, the couple can use this incident to get over this feeling. Of course, Chen Jun, I thought so too. This was indeed the first time they had been together like this since they had revealed their identities as a couple. Perhaps when they were alone, they might have felt a little strange and restrained. But after getting along here, with the addition of Su Qingsu, things have obviously become more harmonious. At least there is another topic to talk about. This is thanks to Su Qingsu. Madam, after this time, let's go back to see Yuaner and Hayar and reunite as a family. Only then did he remember the child at home. After all, it was he who deceived the 2 children, so his retreat cannot be too short. Now that some time has passed and he has dealt with the cause and effect of his wife, it is reasonable for him, as a father, to end his retreat. When Xia Jiao heard the names of the 2 children, her body trembled. Yes, she has 2 children, and she will be able to see her children after this time. Husband, I can finally see Yuaner and Hayar. Her face showed tenderness and joy. It just feels like they've wasted quite a bit of time playing this way. Otherwise, my husband would have solved the problem long ago and let her see the 2 children. Thinking that with her husband's arrangements, there shouldn't be any problems with the 2 children, she decided not to pursue the matter. Chen Jun was well aware of his wife's thoughts and explained with a smile. Don't blame me, madam. I didn't want Yuaner and Hayar to follow me, so I told them I was in seclusion. It's almost time to come out now, so it's normal for us to be delayed for a while. Xia Jiao naturally understood how her husband felt about taking care of the child. It's not easy for my husband. Then she became worried, staring at Chen Jana and said, Husband, do you think Yuaner and Hayar will feel unfamiliar with me? Will they not forgive me? Although it wasn't the first time she saw her baby, it had been many years since she saw him. She was afraid of that feeling, or perhaps it was a feeling of guilt and shame. No, Chen Jun, I comforted her. Madam, blood is thicker than water. They won't be unfamiliar with you. They are even more looking forward to meeting Mother and feeling each other's body temperature. Besides, I've done a good job of educating them over the years. I've often mentioned your situation to them, and they often talk about you, their mother, so it can be considered a kind of companionship. Spiritual companionship? Zia Jiao blinked. Her husband's words made her feel much more at ease. This also showed that her husband had planned to come to her a long time ago, and was confident that he could solve everything. If you calculate it this way, it really seems like her mother left on her own accord, and was caught by her husband 3 years later. I guess so. Spiritual companionship is also companionship. Living in their spirit is also companionship, Chen Junai said with a smile. After hearing this, Zia Jiao suddenly felt less guilty. Instead, she felt extremely guilty towards her husband. Husband, you have taken care of them alone all these years. Thank you for your hard work. Chen Junai said seriously. It's indeed hard work. I wonder how Madam will compensate me. My husband wants so much compensation. Zia Jiao curled her lips. After the couple met, the compensation has basically never stopped. Of course, no matter how much I ask for, it's not enough. So this compensation must trap you for the rest of your life, Chen Junai said righteously. Is the lady willing? Zia Jiao felt that her husband was confessing his love to her. My heartbeat also quickened a lot, and my breathing rose and fell slightly. Husband, I am willing. If this compensation can last for a lifetime, it must be for a lifetime. Although her husband was holding her, it did not affect her ability to tilt her face to search for his lips. Of course, it also did not affect Chen Junai's side profile, as he pressed his face against that snow-white forehead and looked down at the red lips. The couple is full of affection. I silently said to myself, this is the first time, this is the first time, this is the first time we are so close in this way. Jiao, Chapter 67, I have to check it again for you. When they heard Su Qingsu's voice, Chen Junai and Zia Jiao's expressions became unnatural. It's really true that Su Qingsu is the reason for both my success and failure. It was just a little bit off. The couple turned their heads at the same time, and could vaguely see that Su Qingsu behind the curtain had climbed out of the bed at some point, and was staring at them with an expression of disbelief. Qingsu, you're awake. Zia Jiao could only pretend to be surprised and run over to see her. Chen Junai had no choice but to wait outside. However, he suspected that Su Qingsu had something against him, as she looked at him as if he were a gigolo. Su Qingsu saw Zia Jiao coming, but she still stared at Chen Junai through the curtains. Zia Jiao's little husband. He actually came. When she was unconscious just now, she thought it was just a dream, and if she hadn't seen it wrong, the couple wanted to kiss. Oh. Of course, this is not the point. The point is that she suddenly felt more energetic. Zia Jiao was a little embarrassed, with a shy look on her pretty face. Qingsu, you've been injured, you deserve to rest well. I can only give you a kind reminder. But Su Qingsu didn't care about these trivial matters. She turned her head and asked, Jiao, why is your husband in the fairyland? Of course you came to find me, Zia Jiao said. Looking for you? Can he really find you? Didn't he say he was just a mortal? Su Qingsu was a little puzzled. This was different from the truth she knew. Zia Jiao didn't know how to explain, so she said, it's a long story. Then keep it brief. Yes, that's what you saw. He has the ability to find it. Finished. Didn't you ask me to keep it brief? Su Qingsu burst into tears on the spot. Jiao, you almost couldn't see me anymore, and now you can't even meet my request, and you're so short. You know, don't joke with your life next time. Don't do that no matter what. Zia Jiao naturally knew Su Qingsu's previous choice. Maybe she thought that if she died, she would no longer have a handle on him, but having said that, she still didn't want Su Qingsu to use this to achieve her goal. Su Qingsu wiped away her tears, her eyes widening. That's not the point. The point is that it's too short, too short. As for the choice she made before, that was her business, and Zia Jiao had no control over her. After realizing what was happening, she was extremely surprised. Jiao, are you saying that your husband has the strength to come looking for you? In other words, he has already become an immortal. She was a little surprised. This little husband was quite powerful. Of course, it might also be related to Zia Jiao's exquisite body. Zia Jiao smiled and said, of course. All right, you need to recover from your injuries. The Jidao Imperial Palace is now safe, and so is the Huangdi Palace. There's no need to talk about this for so long. Since you're fine, something must have happened in the Huangdi Palace. It's not too late to talk about it later. Su Qingsu was a little excited. Now I have to check it for you first. After saying this without waiting for Zia Jiao's response, she directly called out to Chen Junai outside the curtain, Jiao's husband, please come in. There was a hint of excitement in his tone. Zia Jiao was speechless. Chen Junai was slightly stunned. If it's convenient for Miss Su, then I. Come in quickly, don't be polite, Su Kingsu said hurriedly. I feel like this matter is not simple. There must be something fishy. She even felt that something was wrong with Zia Jiao before. She must have been having an affair secretly and kept it secret from her. Of course, she should be able to understand. After all, even if Zia Jiao's little husband becomes an immortal, he can't be stronger than Zia Jiao. Zia Jiao is trying to protect her little husband from being implicated and becoming a weakness. Upon hearing this, Chen Junai had no choice but to lift the curtain and run in. He smiled and said, Miss Su, this is the first time we meet. I'm sorry to bother you. Don't disturb me, don't disturb me. Su Kingsu didn't have time to think about such trivial matters. He glanced back and forth at Zia Jiao and Chen Junai. Then he said, Jiao, why don't you introduce me to her first? It always feels inappropriate to ask Chen Junai directly. Zia Jiao said helplessly, This is my husband, Chen Junai Tilda. Hearing this name, Su Kingsu was stunned for a moment. Why does it sound so familiar? I seem to have heard it somewhere before. Never mind. Mr. Chen, this is our first meeting, so I apologize for the inconvenience and my poor hospitality. Zia Jiao wanted to roll her eyes, because Su Kingsu had never been so serious before. Chen Junai didn't care, he could see it, of course. Miss Su, you're welcome. Mr. Chen, you now know my Jiao's identity, right? That's natural. How do you feel? My wife is not ordinary, I should strengthen myself. Very good, very good. You are still so confident even after knowing Jiao's identity. I think you are a person of strong will. Su Kingsu's eyes lit up slightly, and she was obviously quite satisfied with the level she had passed. After all, a little husband is a little husband. If he has no courage and is frightened, then he is just a gigolo. Of course, she could also see that Chen Junai's eyes did not seem to be bragging. Otherwise, this is too much of an act. Does Master Chen feel any pressure? He paused and continued. Although you're unremarkable, you should know that Jiao has been obsessed with you and the two children all these years, and has suffered immensely from longing for you. Zia Jiao was silent, feeling like she was the one who was not involved. She simply held her chin up and looked back and forth between Su Kingsu and her husband. Chen Junai smiled and said, I naturally understand Madam's difficulties, so I came to the immortal realm. As for the pressure, it is a little bit. When the couple first met, they started out feeling stressed. Just a little. Su Kingsu suspected that Chen Junai was pretending to be calm. After all, Zia Jiao was the immortal emperor. Being with the immortal emperor and having a child is just a little stressful. That's impossible. Chen Junai nodded. So Mr. Chen is ready to face it together with Jiao, Su Kingsu chattered. Even if it means bearing immense pressure. Even if it means being looked at differently by others. Even if it means the inner pain brought about by the huge gap. Chen Junai only responded with 2 words, of course. Seeing Chen Junai so calm, what else could Su Kingsu say? That's good. Then he smiled and said, Since you are in love and can live in harmony as a couple, then I will definitely bless you. Of course, Master Chen still needs to work hard. You still have a long way to go. Also, if Master Chen needs any help, just let him know. Su Kingsu suspected this was a case of the father's status being elevated by his son. But since Zia Jiao didn't care, she, as an outsider, certainly couldn't say anything. I just hope that Chen Junai can withstand the tremendous pressure, and not give up on himself and feel inferior, and let down Zia Jiao and the 2 children. Miss Su is right. Chen Junai naturally accepted the blessing, and thank you for your help, Miss Su. Zia Jiao had a smile on her face, which was quite amusing. Su Kingsu was satisfied, and it was time to ask Zia Jiao, but she found that Zia Jiao looked like she was just watching the fun. She frowned slightly. She was worried about Zia Jiao, but found out that Zia Jiao herself didn't worry about anything. She was really carefree. Suddenly she thought of something and was shocked. She reminded him stealthily, Jiao, do you feel that your husband's name is familiar? Chapter 68, Emperor Falls from the Mountain, the Sealed Demon Emperor. Of course I am familiar with him. He is my husband. Zia Jiao said secretly, not caring. That's not what I'm talking about. Su Kingsu thought Zia Jiao was simply adorable, and continued, I'm saying that the name Chen Junai is very familiar. It seems that the immortal emperor of eternal night also has this name. Zia Jiao still didn't care, I know. But at this moment a voice was heard. My lords, a demonic den has appeared within the immortal realm. This could be a sign of a demonic invasion. Please be prepared. Upon hearing this, the 3 of them all changed their expressions slightly. The demons are invading. Su Kingsu became serious. Xiao, Master Chen, it seems that there are some changes in the fairyland again. Zia Xiao nodded. The demons are invading at this time. I'm afraid they have other purposes. Because the demon emperor had been suppressed by her husband back then. Where does the confidence come from to invade the fairyland so quickly? Unless a more powerful demon is born. Furthermore, her husband had reappeared to find her, and she suspected that this demon invasion might be causing trouble for him. But her husband had clearly become stronger. Could the demons be so stupid? None of it makes sense. She looked at her husband in confusion. Chen Junai himself didn't quite understand, but he wouldn't worry too much. The appearance of the demons this time is a bit strange. We should be prepared in advance. Husband, let's go and take a look. Zia Xiao then instructed Su Kingsu. Kingsu, just take a rest first. If the demons invade the immortal realm, then the Jishiandao immortal realm may not be able to avoid it. However, they are currently in the Su family of the Guxiao immortal realm, so they can just observe the situation here first. Okay, then you guys better be careful, Su Kingsu said solemnly. Then he watched the couple leave. Zia Xiao's little husband is really unlucky. He just arrived in the fairyland and encountered troubles from the Jidao Emperor Palace and the Huangdi Palace. Now there is an invasion by the demons. Suddenly realized something. Xiao, you haven't told me what you know yet. This time I can't fall asleep even if I want to. When I close my eyes, I can only think. What does Zia Xiao know? After Chen Junai and Zia Xiao ran out, they found that Su Jiazhu had already gone to work. He probably didn't want to trouble them too much because they were guests. Then the couple didn't care and ran to investigate the situation. After a while, he noticed something was wrong. Husband, the appearance of the demon cave must be the passage connecting to the demon abyss. But these demons don't seem to act rashly. I wonder what they are planning. Zia Xiao couldn't figure it out. This feels more like a siege without attacking. Chen Junai nodded. Madam, that's true. I'm afraid the demons have some other purpose for appearing this time. We can just wait and see. Of course, Zia Xiao wouldn't keep talking about this kind of thing. Then my husband, let's walk around. Since it hadn't broken out yet, they might as well just talk about love. Besides, ever since her husband showed up, the troubles hadn't stopped without a break, and they needed some time to themselves. Okay, after saying that, Chen Junai took his wife for a stroll. Somewhere in the fairyland, there is a place here called Emperor's Falling Mountain. Emperor Luo Mountain is extremely majestic, with a vast area that stretches endlessly. I'm afraid it's much larger than any top-level immortal sect. However, because the demon emperor is suppressed here, no grass grows within the range of the Emperor's Falling Mountain. A faint demonic energy is released, making this place a restricted area. A terrifying aura leaked out, and the rocky walls looked ferocious. Even the living creatures that existed began to mutate, becoming evil and terrifying. It tells us all the time that the immortal has stopped. Ordinary people would have to step away if they just looked at it from a distance. Inside Emperor Fall Mountain, there are mountain walls all around, but there is a space here. Powerful seals and restrictions suppress it, and there is a terrifying demon among them. This was the demon emperor back then. Eternal Night. The demon emperor looked furious, and it was obvious that his anger had not dissipated during the time he was sealed. Seal me, and you won't feel good either. Back then, the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor had sealed him here at the 6th level of the Immortal Emperor realm. How could he accept this? Although I am injured, your cultivation has dissipated. When I recover, I will be able to break this seal. Then, who can stop me? The Demon Emperor vented his anger. Although the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night was powerful, he was only at the 6th level of the Immortal Emperor realm. If he hadn't been injured in the past, how could the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night have suppressed him here? As long as he can recover his strength and return to his peak, he will definitely be able to break the seal set by the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor and escape from Emperor Falling Mountain. How could the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor stop him then? How could other immortal emperors stop him? It will be very soon. The Demon Emperor became much more excited when he thought of this. How could he just sit there and wait for death during all these years of suppression? He was always thinking about breaking the seal set by the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Maybe a long time, maybe soon. But as his strength recovers, the time of eroding the seal will undoubtedly be shortened. One day I'll be free again. Wait for me to return to the demonic abyss, then set foot on the 33 immortal realms. The Demon Emperor roared in a low voice. In the ancient continent, the two little ones who were just remembered by their parents and then forgotten again have settled down in the 9 holy temples. These days, they have been familiarizing themselves with the environment inside the 9 holy temples, running around everywhere like two curious babies. Wherever he goes, he attracts the attention of all the disciples. Then he subconsciously looked down at the two children holding hands with baby voices, his face filled with confusion. Oh my God, this is the first time I see such young junior brothers and sisters. He has already started practicing at such a young age, and is even able to join the 9 holy temples. Anyone would say it's horrible. After all, the disciples who can join the 9 holy temples are not too bad. Then they looked at each other and watched the two children walk away with their little legs, leaving behind their tiny backs. Now, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao are going to take part in the entrance examination of the 9 holy temples. Xiao Hao, the 9 Saints Temple is so huge. Yes, sister, the 9 Saints Temple is so big, and there are so many people. It will definitely help us and Dad find Mom. That's right. Before that, we must first pass the entrance examination of the 9 holy temples. Once we complete the assessment, we will definitely be able to teach the Wang family's children a lesson every day. That's right, Xiao Hao, let's go. Okay, sister. Li Meyerajan and Gong Luoyu beside them looked at the two kids helplessly. They can obviously take the back door, but they insist on working hard. The Great Saint Lord rejected them. The Great Saint Lord said that they did not need to take the test, but they insisted that it was against the rules. It is obvious that he does not want to worship the Great Saint Lord as his master, but he also wants to join the 9 Saints Temple according to the normal process. Faced with the two children's self-principles, they dared not speak or ask. As for the fact that the two kids were actually powerful beings in the fusion realm, they still couldn't forget it. Shocked, he tossed and turned for days and nights, unable to sleep. However, if this were to happen, the two children would surely be doubly valued by the 9 sacred temples. Even the ancient king family would have to think twice. Then these two temporary parents can feel much more at ease. As for the 9 sacred temples, they were indeed large, imposing, and terrifying. They couldn't leave until they had officially confirmed that Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were stable. Soon, they arrived at the place where new disciples took the entrance examination. Chapter 69, Must Take the Entrance Examination. This is the assessment site specially set up by the 9 holy temples. After all, absorbing new blood is particularly important for the 9 holy temples. Of course, selecting disciples with outstanding talents is the key. Those who are qualified will naturally rise to prominence, and then be divided into disciple levels according to their talent and strength, or be valued by the strong men of the 9 holy temples and taken away. Those who are unqualified can only leave the 9 holy temples. At this moment, the atmosphere was extremely quiet, and no one dared to make loud noises. Seeing this, Chen Ziyuan's eyes lit up and he whispered, "Xiao Hao, we're here." "Sister, what should we do?" Chen Zihao suppressed his inner excitement. Whether or not the children raised by the Wang family can be taught a lesson, every day depends on their performance. The disciples who were guarding here all looked grim when they saw Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao coming. He lowered his head and persuaded, "Junior brother, junior sister, this is a key assessment site, not a place for you to come." "Are you kidding? Since the great saint has spoken, these two kids don't need to take the entrance exam at all. As for this situation, these two little guys, they have never seen it before." Upon hearing this, Chen Ziyuan said seriously, "Brother, you can't be partial. Letting them take the test but not us is not in line with the rules." "That's right, senior brother. We are here for the assessment. Otherwise, we won't be able to teach the children raised by the Wang family a lesson every day," Chen Zihao echoed. Partiality? This made the disciples feel like they were the ones who made the mistake. He continued to persuade, "Junior brother and junior sister, you don't need to waste your time taking the test. You are already disciples of the 9 Saints Temple. Such a young fusion realm master? I don't know if I should flatter him. Anyway, I have to coax him when I talk to him. Otherwise, I'm afraid the two little ancestors will cause a big fight." However, the two kids are quite vengeful and are still thinking about the young master of the Huanggu Wang family. Hearing this, the two kids shook their heads. "Brother, it's not up to you to decide whether we participate in the assessment or not. This is the rule of the 9 holy temples." "That's right, brother. You are committing fraud and favoritism. You will be punished." Several disciples seemed to see the seriousness of the situation from the two children's faces and were stunned where they stood. "Don't play by the rules." I was extremely anxious for a while, and then I became anxious. "Junior brother, junior sister, please leave here. The great Saint Lord has already told you not to take the test." Such commotion attracted the attention of the new disciples taking the test. They all looked over. Two kids are taking an exam. Interesting, so interesting. Having such an opponent is simply giving them points. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. The elders in charge of the assessment felt helpless when they saw this situation. What happened? Replying to the assessment elder, "It is my junior brothers and sisters who want to take the assessment." The disciple responded quickly. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were also getting anxious, as it was about to begin. Without saying a word, he took out a token and said, "Brother, we have a token given by the great saint Lord. You have to let us take the test. Brother, you don't want the great saint to lose his temper, do you?" Puff. When they saw the token, several disciples almost vomited blood. Why bother? But there was nothing I could do, so I just gritted my teeth. Then he made way for her and said, "Then you guys go in. This is none of their business. It's all the great saint's intention." Seeing this, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao smiled. "Thank you, senior brother." Then he greeted Li Maiaozhen and Gong Luoyu. "Beautiful sister, fairy sister, please wait for us to succeed." He waved his hand, then ran to the team. Li Maiaozhen and Gong Luoyu were speechless. They felt like they were just here to have fun, but at the same time, they seemed extremely serious. Confused and unable to accept the two kids, who suddenly appeared in their team for a while. I've never seen such a small competitor. And the two children are holding the Holy Lord's token. Hiss Tilda, you have a backdoor, but you insist on competing with your strength. I give up. When the assessing elder saw this, he also stared at Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. This is the first time to test such a young disciple. Never mind, it's none of his business. Then he explained the assessment rules. After he finished speaking, he glanced at everyone and said, "This is the assessment rule. Those who pass will become disciples of the 9 holy temples. Do you understand?" Clear. Then the assessment elder looked at Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao and asked, "Do you understand? Ask others if they understand. When asking these two, you have to first see if they have figured out the rules, otherwise you won't feel at ease." Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao's faces were serious. "Elder, we understand. There's probably an 80% chance that they understood it." "Okay, then be careful when you enter the assessment," the assessment elder warned. "This is the first time I have to worry about new disciples." "Okay, elder." The two little ones were full of confidence and stood very straight and proper. "Well then, the assessment begins." After saying that, the assessment elder waved his hand and a space channel appeared in front of everyone. All new disciples enter. As soon as he finished speaking, he found that there was no trace of Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. "Where are the people?" Already ran in. Seeing this, the other disciples dared not delay and rushed into the space passage. After entering the passage, the running Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao discovered that there was a different world here. Excitedly said, "Zio, how this place is so beautiful." "Yes, sister, but what are we being tested on?" "Well, let's wait and see what happens with the other disciples." Oh. Let them assess other disciples first. The 9 holy temples, the largest palace. This is the territory of the great saint. At this moment, Qin Tiandao had a headache. What are the origins of these two children? If you tell others that he is such a young person who is a powerful person in the fusion realm, no one would believe it. But it's not fake. With such strength, there is no need to worry about talent. It must be good. This is far more outstanding than the geniuses in the major ancient families. Qin Tiandao couldn't figure it out, let alone figure it out, so he was too lazy to think about it any further. It's just a matter of how to trick these two children into becoming my disciples. These days, no matter how hard he tried, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao just wouldn't agree. He had even handed over the Holy Lord token, but it still didn't work. Moreover, although the two children are young, they seem to have their own ideas and persistence. Otherwise, they would not be like this. Never mind, once they figure it out, they'll consider it. There's no need to rush. Suddenly, he realized that the two kids had gone to take the entrance exam, which made him laugh. And on the other side, Wang Tianjiao finally got what he wanted and achieved his goal. He met the 3 holy lords and became their disciple. However, the fact that he was beaten black and blue by Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao seriously hurt his self-esteem, and he couldn't sleep for several days and nights. "It's so bullying. Master, I don't accept it. I want to compete with them again." Chapter 70, You Are Not Here to Be Undercover. Wang Tianjiao was very dissatisfied. The 3rd Saint Lord Jin Ganao is a burly middle-aged man. As Wang Tianjiao's master, he also knew Wang Tianjiao's thoughts. It was inevitable for children to compare with each other, not to mention the friction they had before. Comparing what? Your cultivation level is far inferior to theirs. He had never seen a 3-year-old at the fusion realm, so it was impossible for the great Saint Lord to come and pick him up personally. Compared to the others, my cultivation is not as good as theirs, but in terms of alchemy, talisman making, etc., they are definitely not my match. Wang Tianjiao clenched his fists. My Huanggu Wang family is a large family with a wide variety of geniuses and countless powerful subordinates. I have been exposed to various alchemy and formation techniques since I was young, and I will definitely be able to defeat them. Please help me, Master. Wang Tianjiao was full of confidence. I may not be able to compare with you in terms of cultivation, but I'm sure I can do it in other aspects. Jin Gunao laughed when he heard it. Tianjiao, failure is not terrible. It's a good thing that you have the fighting spirit. If you want, then do it yourself. He certainly knew the depth of the ancient Wang family's heritage, which could be described as formidable. Within the family were numerous powerful alchemists, talisman masters, puppeteers, and formation masters, and Wang Tianjiao must have had some exposure to these areas. Thank you, Master. Wang Tianjiao felt that he was fine again. Jin Guo reminded him again. Although I didn't stop you, you have to agree to one condition. Master, what are the conditions? If you lose again, you'll need to apologize to those 2 kids. Master, why should I apologize to them? Wang Tianjiao was very reluctant. Jin Guo said, since you have accepted me as your disciple, I will naturally take care of everything for you and be responsible for you. Even your family won't say anything. If you were wrong, you were wrong. It is truly valuable to admit your failures and face your opponents squarely. Only then can you go further. Wang Tianjiao was just a child after all. Jin Gunao felt that he was not at the point of no return and that he should hone the things he brought from the family. Wang Tianjiao gritted his teeth unwillingly. They are just 2 3-year-old children. A 3-year-old child can also be your opponent, regardless of age. How about it, can you do it? Jin Guo felt that it was necessary to conduct the first lesson of accepting a disciple, and now was very appropriate. Wang Tianjiao struggled internally for a long time. It would be absolutely unbearable for him to put aside his pride and apologize to others. Master, I promise you. Besides, I will definitely defeat them this time. It is impossible to apologize. Okay, it's a good thing that you have such confidence. Let's wait and see. After Jin Gunao finished speaking, he didn't say anything else. This world, how could a 6-year-old like Wang Tianjiao understand it? As the Holy Lord, he would certainly not interfere too much in matters between children. Then, Master, I'll go and prepare. Go ahead. In the place of assessment, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao have completed the first part of the assessment. However, they didn't quite understand, so they could only wait for other disciples to arrive, see how they did it, and then learn from them. The first part of the test is to not be distracted by external things and not get lost in this environment. Otherwise, you may be eliminated as soon as you enter the test area. Several disciples had already been sent away. This assessment is not difficult. Chen Ziyuan felt no pressure at all. Although she felt that this place was indeed beautiful and was confused for a while, she easily got out of it. Yes, sister, I heard from them that this first part of the test is a test of your state of mind. If you can't even pass it, you can only go home. Chen Zihao felt that his mood was okay, and he would not be disturbed. Then Ziohao, let's go to the next assessment. Okay, sister, but what is the next test? I don't know, let's go there and wait for them. As they were talking, the 2 little ones ran out again. Soon they arrived at a place. Looking at the ladder reaching the sky in front of them, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao both looked puzzled. Why is there such a big ladder here? What a huge ladder. I wonder where it leads to. Sister, should we move this ladder? It looks like it's blocking the way. That's right, let's move out then. As they spoke, the 2 kids began to clear the ladder that was blocking the way. One person carried a ladder leg. The disciples who rushed over with sweat on their foreheads were stunned to see that the ladder to heaven was gone. Didn't the second part of the test involve climbing the sky ladder? Where's the ladder to heaven? It should be here. Is there any problem with the assessment? Look, the ladder to heaven has run away. Finally, a disciple noticed something was wrong. Escape, can the sky-reaching ladder still escape? Chase after it. Without saying anything, they went to catch up with their assessment content. They had finally passed the first part of the assessment, so there was no way they would let the sky ladder just run away like that. When we got closer, we found 2 kids carrying a ladder to the sky. 2 young Taoist friends, what are you doing? Why are you moving the sky-reaching cloud ladder? The ladder to heaven is for climbing, not for moving. Are you planning to cheat? Move out and climb on your own so we won't pass the test. You guys are not behaving well. I almost died of laughter. I seriously suspected that they were sent by the 9 holy temples to cause trouble and increase the difficulty of the test. After hearing this, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao finally reacted. I see. We didn't mean to cheat. Immediately put down the ladder and start climbing. Zihao, come on. Sister, I'm rushing. The disciples were completely speechless upon seeing this. It seemed like they hadn't even heard the rules. After realizing what was happening, he was also shocked. How could they actually move such a treasure as the sky-reaching ladder? Are you kidding? Without thinking too much, he immediately followed and climbed the ladder to heaven. As they climbed higher and higher, they were almost exhausted and could not bear the pressure anymore. But they found that the 2 children were no longer there. Not long, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao have already reached the top of the cloud ladder, which is another place with a unique charm. It turns out that this big ladder is connected to another space. Chen Ziyuan suddenly realized. Oh, that's right. Chen Zihao looked at the ladder to heaven and found that some disciples could not hold on and fell down. Sister, they look so tired. Should we help them? No, if we help them, it would be like them cheating. Okay then, sister, let's go to the next test. As they were talking, the 2 little ones ran away. Soon, many books of martial arts techniques and other things appeared in front of them and were placed not far away. Sister, why did the 9 Saints Temple leave the skills here? Chen Zihao scratched his head. Chen Ziyuan thought for a moment. Could it be that he wants to test our comprehension, our talent? I remember the assessment elder said so. It can't be that simple, right? Maybe they want us to do chores and clean up to see if we can take care of ourselves. That's right, Zihao, let's start taking care of it. Okay, sister, but next time we should go slower. You're always the first one to run over. I don't know what you're doing. Okay. Then they began a major raid. Not long after, the disciples who had rushed over impatiently found that the test content had been processed by someone, and their faces turned black. Chapter 71, a group of monsters ran out. 2 little Taoist friends, what are you busy with? Looking at the 2 busy little ones, all the disciples felt bad. This is even harder than the first part of the test. I seriously suspect that the 2 of them are undercover agents sent by the 9 holy temples. We are taking care of the martial arts books. Yeah, don't disturb us. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were tidying up tirelessly. Taking care of it? Even taking care of my own kids isn't this stressful. The disciples were speechless. My 2 young Taoist friends, do you think there is a possibility for us to gain enlightenment? Enlightenment? Is it that simple? The 2 little ones looked back in confusion. Simple? The disciples were speechless. It may be a little simple, but it really made us realize. Oh, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao also listened to the advice. Okay then, let's start to comprehend. Then the assessment began, in an orderly manner. The other disciples were speechless when they saw this. What else could they do? They just continued to play with them. Also began to understand. This part tests your basic understanding. Soon, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao had finished. Sister, I understand. This thing is so simple, not so amazing. That's right, Zihao. Let's wait for the others. Okay. Then the 2 little ones squatted aside and watched the other disciples quietly gain insights. Just when I was about to fall asleep, I heard a voice. 2 young Taoist friends, is it easy? Are you in trouble? It's not easy. Every time the 2 kids run really fast, now I can't run as fast as them. Still dozing off, Chen Ziyuan suddenly perked up. No, we're just waiting for you. Otherwise, we don't know what the next assessment will be. Sister is right. The disciples were offended again. Oh my God, whose naughty kid is torturing us? He doesn't even let go of his fellow students. When he was speaking, some disciples were unable to comprehend, and some even lost control of their minds and were directly teleported away. Obviously, his understanding is not up to standard. Finally, Chen Ziyuan, Chen Zihao, and others entered the final part of the assessment. Seeing other disciples start to kill the monsters, they felt a little bit reluctant. Zihao, it seems this is a test of your combat prowess. If you can get through it, you'll pass. Sister, do we have to kill the monsters? We only know how to eat them, not kill them. Chen Zihao was a little worried. Chen Ziyuan chuckled. It doesn't matter. It said that each disciple just needs to kill 10 monsters and then rush through. We can ride 10 monsters to rush through. The meaning is the same. Yes, sister, let's get started. After saying that, the 2 little ones rushed over. Seeing this, some monsters hurriedly tried to stop them. It was out of instinct. Just 2 human cubs, one in a bite. Boom, boom, boom. After a few hits, they all became quiet, dazed and foaming at the mouth. Oh my God, whose kid is this? He's even scarier than those monks. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao successfully captured 20 monsters and subdued them. So excited. Yeah, sis, we did it. Zyro, how let's go. The two little ones jumped up and landed on the back of a monster. Then I started riding and running. There were 19 monsters following behind him. They had no choice but to run after him because a terrible force was pulling them forward and dragging them away. I seriously suspect that it was done by two human cubs. The other disciples held long swords and fought fiercely with numerous monsters. Some were even injured. Those with serious injuries would be automatically teleported away and considered eliminated. The remaining disciples who had been fighting hard were stunned after seeing this scene. Killing 10 monsters is extremely difficult. I didn't expect that the two kids actually rode away the test content. I watched helplessly as the two kids ran away while a full 20 monster beasts were dragged away, without any power to resist. It was practically an artificial tide of baby beasts. There was nothing to say for a moment. Calm down. They still have a chance. Persistence is victory. These monsters are not too powerful. As long as you can kill 10 of them and then get out safely, you will pass. Of course, the faster it is, the stronger its strength is and the better its results are. The other exit of the assessment space is above a mountain. As for the disciples who passed the test, as long as they appeared from the exit, they could fly on their swords, make the final sprint, and then land on the open space in front of the hall. Not far away, some powerful people from the 9 holy temples are already waiting. After all, the 9 holy temples often recruit new blood, and there are often some talented disciples. If there is a genius that you value, you will naturally strive for him to expand your own lineage. Not long, they sensed some spatial fluctuations and looked expectant. It seems that a disciple is about to pass the assessment. Haha, this result at this time must be pretty good. I don't know which family this genius is from. For a moment, everyone started chatting. Within a few breaths, a huge head suddenly popped out from the examination exit. The powerful men looked at the exit in the sky. Their faces froze, and their inner expectations were mostly dashed. Pig demon. Not good. Then his face changed completely. You beast, how dare you run out? He shouted angrily, feeling the urge to kill the pig. The assessment site is specially set up for new disciples. It is normal to have monsters there. After all, they were all captured by the 9 Saints' Temple or raised by themselves for the purpose of assessing the disciples. These monsters usually didn't dare to run out, but unexpectedly this time a pig monster rushed out first. You are so brave. How can this be tolerated? In order to avoid causing casualties to other disciples, he must be killed. When the pig demon saw this scene, his expression became frightened. His eyes widened, and he looked like he wanted to turn back. No. It wasn't that it wanted to escape. It was that 2 human cubs were pushing its butt from behind. In the end, the pig demon was unable to push back and was forced to run out. Following closely behind, 20 demon beasts were forced to run out despite their resistance. Upon seeing this situation, the powerful men from the 9 Saints' Temple were stunned and noticed something was wrong. Wait a minute. It seems these monsters were forced to come here, not willingly. What's going on? Everyone was confused for a moment. Then I heard a sound. We've completed the assessment. The small figures of Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao appeared. It was not easy, but they finally pushed these monsters out. Otherwise, they would not be willing. Then he immediately rode the monster to make the final sprint. But he found that these monsters were still rebellious and not happy. He simply dragged 10 monsters and started sprinting. 20 monsters were in great pain and looked confused. When did they get dragged away? But he had no power to resist. He couldn't retreat even if he tried. It was useless even though his butt was burning. Seeing this situation, all the strong men were stunned. Chapter 72, I want to compete with you again. Just drag the monster out. The faces of the powerful men turned dark, and they looked at each other in confusion. At first glance, it was Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. That's even more speechless. Still 2 babies. When the strong men were confused, the 2 little ones had already run to them, dragging a group of monsters. Elder, have we completed the assessment? Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao said impatiently. The group of monsters behind him were trembling and gathered into a group, as if they had suffered a great injustice and were being tortured. The assessment elder and a group of monsters stared at each other. What was going on? Never seen it. 2 little guys, what are you doing? It's an assessment. We didn't want to kill the monsters, so we brought them out. It's the same idea. Yes, elder, have we passed the test? Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were waiting for the results. Everyone was speechless. I'm impressed by this little ancestor. The assessing elder said awkwardly, I see, so you're done right. Have to. Even if the great saint opens a back door, it's useless. They insist on causing trouble. Upon hearing this, the two little ones finally jumped up excitedly. Yeah, great, Zioha, we passed. Yes, sister, you can teach the Wang family's child a lesson every day. The powerful men were speechless for a moment, but they had heard of Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. That's right, taking care of children is indeed a headache. After a while, swish, 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 some more disciples appeared from that exit and flew over on swords. Passing the assessment was a relief, but God knows what they went through. Ziyuan Zihao. At this time, Li Meyerajin and Gong Luoyu came over with a smile. But when he saw the group of monsters being dragged by the two children, his face was stunned. Sure enough, it was pretty much what they thought. There must be some surprises. Beautiful sister, fairy sister. We succeeded. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao immediately ran over to report the good news. Then congratulations. Li Meyerajin and Gong Luoyu also breathed a sigh of relief. Have the two kids achieved their goal now? They are also formal disciples of the 9 holy temples, so they can leave with peace of mind. After a long time, with the appearance of other disciples who passed the test one after another, the test came to an end. Then the assessment elder will announce the list of disciples. The successful ones will stay and be assigned levels based on their performance, while the unsuccessful ones will leave. On the way back, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao stopped pretending. They did not have the maturity and composure that a disciple of the 9 Saints' Temple should have. Instead, they jumped up and down holding the hands of Li Meyerajin and Gong Luoyu, attracting other people's attention. It would be fine if they were just such young brothers and sisters, but they were jumping around all the time, which affected the appearance and majesty of the 9 Saints' Temple. Considering that they are powerful masters in the fusion realm, forget it. Li Meyerajin and Gong Luoyu also found it fun to stroll around with a powerful person in the fusion realm. It was indeed interesting. Unfortunately, it's time for them to go back, said Ziyuan and Zihao. Your fairy sister and I will be leaving in a few days. Huh, beautiful sister and fairy sister, are you going back? Chen Ziyuan was a little reluctant. Chen Zihao was even more reluctant to leave, and almost started hugging her legs. Beautiful sister, fairy sister, why are you leaving? Gong Luoyu nodded and smiled. The 9 Saints' Temple is not a place where we can stay forever. Your beautiful sister and I are going back to Tianyan Temple. Oh, the two kids felt lost, but they also understood this truth. Well then, beautiful sister, fairy sister, remember to come and see us. We will also go to Tianyan to watch you. Of course, they talked and laughed. At this time, Wang Tianjiao came running over. He said with an unconvinced look on his face, You too, do you dare to compete with me again? We must fight back for this moment. He came here specifically to wait after he learned that Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao had to go to take the entrance examination. Humph, a 3-year-old brat is just a 3-year-old brat. He really isn't very smart to go through the trouble of taking some entrance exam. In his opinion, taking part in the entrance examination was not in keeping with his status as the eldest son of the Wang family. Li Meyerajin and Gong Luoyu had a headache again. It was really hard to intervene in the friction between the children. The best option was to let the two children handle it themselves. Huh, aren't you the one who grew up in the Wang family? You still want to compete with us? You are definitely not our match. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao clenched their fists. They hadn't yet gone to teach the Wang family a lesson for the persimmons they had grown, but they didn't expect that the persimmons they had grown would be delivered to their doorstep. Wang Tianjiao's face turned red from holding it in, but his cultivation level is indeed not as good as hers. HMPH, let's compete with something else. You're definitely no match for me. We must get back at this point no matter what. Otherwise it will bring shame to the family. Chen Ziyuan curled his lips, comparing what? That's right, what are you competing for? Don't cry if you can't beat us. Chen Zihao put his hands on his hips. They were able to pass the entrance examination, so they were extremely inflated and full of confidence. Wang Tianjiao smiled. Cry, just don't cry when the time comes. We can compete in alchemy, talismans, and formations. I will definitely defeat you. Upon hearing this, Li Meyerajin and Gong Luoyu looked strange for a moment and felt that this was a good idea. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao thought about it and realized that they seemed to know this too. In order to be on the safe side and ensure that they would join the 9 Saints' Temple, they had specially studied for a few days. I didn't expect it would be of any use. Well, let's compare this. We agree we must teach you a lesson. This is another small goal of theirs, in joining the 9 holy temples. Wang Tianjiao gritted his teeth in anger. It's still unclear who will teach whom a lesson. Tomorrow, we will compete in the alchemy hall. A place like the 9 Saints Temple naturally has geniuses in all aspects. However, compared to disciples who are simply cultivating their cultivation, they are much rarer. For example, the alchemy hall would not make much of a fuss about recruiting alchemy disciples, but related competitions were still set up, and their contribution to the entire 9 Saints Temple was huge. Okay then, I'll teach you a lesson in the alchemy hall tomorrow. Chen Zihao had no choice but to agree to Wang Tianjiao's request. Chen Ziyuan definitely supported his brother and nodded repeatedly. That's right. Wang Tianjiao almost fell down, then he turned around and left without saying anything more. He wanted to go back and make some preparations, and he must save his face. What else could Li Mei'er and Gong Luoyu say? They had no way of intervening, not to mention that they were not as good as the 2 kids. All right, Ziyu and Zihao, let's go back and prepare. Just think of it as a child's stubbornness and playfulness. As long as the Huanggu Wang family does not interfere, they have nothing to worry about. Okay, pretty sister, fairy sister, you will help us, right? Of course. Then they slowly walked away. Not far away, a pair of eyes were staring at them. Of course, more attention was focused on Li Mei'er and Gong Luoyu. Then he showed a hint of a smile. They are naturally charming and stunningly beautiful. They are also a pair of sisters. Not bad, not bad. Chapter 73. You are so young, and yet you want to compete in alchemy. There was a gleam in the man's eyes. Looking at the backs of Li Mei'er and Gong Luoyu, he felt a little hot, and his body was restless. If I can capture these 2 women, perhaps I can also break through to a new level. He is Ming Yi, the prince of the ancient country of Shanghai. He could not seize the throne, his talent was not as good as other princes, and he was often called a waste. In order to save his life, he had to leave the ancient country of Shanghai and join the 9 Saints Temple. But he was not reconciled to this. He still wanted to become the ruler of the ancient country of Shanghai. Without strong power, he could not achieve his goal. The only way was to make himself stronger quickly so that he could go back and fight for power. By chance, he practiced a secret technique of dual cultivation. By having sexual intercourse with women, one can speed up the pace of cultivation and improve his cultivation. Let hope well up in his heart. Of course, although he is down and out now, he is still a prince of a country after all, so he won't be so hungry that he will eat anything. He naturally likes young and beautiful women. The more beautiful they are, the more comfortable he can use the dual cultivation secret technique. It doesn't matter if you're ugly. There's no need to compromise yourself for the sake of strength. Li Mei'er and Gong Luoyu looked good. At least they made him feel like a man at first sight, as if he was being seduced. They are not disciples of the 9 holy temples, Mingyi smiled. That's even easier to say. It's quite normal for female disciples in the 9 Saints Temple to disappear unexpectedly when they go out for training, and no one will care. Not to mention that they are not disciples of the 9 Saints Temple, so it's easier to achieve the goal. Of course, he is not stupid. He will not touch female disciples with outstanding talents or some background. Naturally, beautiful women with mediocre strength and no background are his first target. Not bad, not bad. This made Mingyi praise Li Mei'er and Gong Luoyu, and he was very satisfied. Better be sensible. With his identity as the prince of the ancient Shanghai kingdom, he can capture too many women, which makes it easier for him to achieve his goal and practice dual cultivation. But what are the backgrounds of those 2 kids? Then, Mingyi thought of Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao, and he became a little solemn. He felt that the 2 of them were too redundant, and would affect his chances of winning over Li Mei'er and Gong Luoyu. After all, their constant attachment to the 2 beauties would definitely affect their dual cultivation. In any case, it seems that they are not related, so there is no need to worry. Their ancient country of Shanghai is also an immortal dynasty, but it is not an ordinary dynasty and is quite powerful. The ruler of the ancient country of Shanghai, that is, his father, is also a great saint. The 9 Saints Temple is unlikely to come forward on behalf of disciples from other sects. Not worth it. If Li Mei'er and Gong Luoyu were the relatives of the 2 children, then of course it would be different. Mingyi smiled and turned away. The next day, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao have arrived at the alchemy hall as agreed. Of course, they are here to teach Wang Tianjiao a lesson. The pretty sister and the fairy sister will be leaving soon, so of course they have to perform well before that. Wang Tianjiao is also here. He is here to get back his place, to restore his own face and that of his family. He must defeat the two little brats today no matter what. For a moment, the two 3-year-old kids, who were only a tiny bit older, were arguing with Wang Tianjiao, a 6-year-old kid, with a look of dissatisfaction written all over their faces. This situation is particularly painful. This gave the elders who were in charge of the alchemy hall a headache. They had never seen such a situation before, and the child was better than others at refining pills. How would the other alchemy geniuses feel? But on one side are two kids in the fusion realm, and on the other side is the young master of the ancient royal family. We should give these children some face. This elder is named Dan Hezi, the top alchemist in the 9 holy temples, and has great prestige. At this moment, he looked back and forth at the children. Remind, if you want to compete, I will personally be your referee. Refining medicine is quite boring. It would be better to try something else to add some fun. The other disciples of the alchemy hall looked at each other in confusion. Are you kidding? Already starting to refine pills at such a young age. If these kids really succeeded, these disciples would be so ashamed that they looked at each other in bewilderment. Thank you, Elder Dan. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao had serious faces and bowed in a formal manner to express their gratitude. This made everyone curious. If they really succeeded, it would be so fun to have such a young alchemist join their medicine hall. Then I'll have to trouble Elder Dan, Wang Tianjiao also said. Their Wang family does have a very powerful alchemist, but he is still far inferior to Elder Dan, so he naturally respects Elder Dan very much. Okay, Dan Hezi smiled when he saw this. Then they took out the materials for their competition. For the sake of fairness, all materials will be prepared by my alchemy hall, including the same alchemy furnace. Under the same conditions, whoever can refine the elixir with better color and quality will win. No need to go to such trouble. Wang Tianjia was unhappy. Elder Dan, this kind of competition is boring. Why don't we let them play freely and then you can decide the result? Dan Hezi understood Wang Tianjiao's meaning. After all, alchemists also had different levels. If the elixir refined by one party was of a high enough level, then whether it was completed under the same conditions or not would not be of much significance. This shows that Wang Tianjiao is very confident. Dan Hezi looked at Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao and said, "What do you think, little guys?" Although he wanted to laugh, he had to remain serious. He had to coax the two children to make the elixir. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao widened their eyes slightly and were stunned again. What does it mean? They didn't understand. But the persimmon raised by the Wang family must be taught a lesson. He nodded seriously. Elder Dan, we agree too. Just agree first and talk later. The other disciples were all shocked. It was becoming more and more interesting. Dan Hezi laughed heartily at the children's eagerness to compete. Interesting, interesting? Well then, just let yourselves do what they want. The winner will be clear then. However, he had little confidence in Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. They were too young and looked rather confused, let alone refining pills. It was even more difficult for them to grasp the process of controlling their mental power and placing herbs. Li Maya Ajin and Gong Loyu were not too worried. After all, they had seen the work of Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao. Come on, Ziyuan and Zihao. Don't worry, beautiful sister, fairy sister. The two little ones laughed confidently. Wang Tianjiao also laughed when he saw this. Are you still confident? I'll definitely show those two little brats what real alchemy is. Then he picked out a furnace and a recipe for an elixir. Elder Dan, please prepare these herbs. Dan Hezi was a little surprised when he saw the recipe. Rongling pill, a top-grade yellow-level pill, not bad. He said so, but he didn't think Wang Tianjiao could succeed in refining it. The difficulty involved is not just talk. The other disciples also exclaimed in surprise. Only a few of them could successfully refine top-grade yellow-level elixirs. Wang Tianjiao didn't care. If he worked hard, he would definitely be able to refine the top-grade yellow-level Rongling pill. Elder Dan, please prepare these herbs for us. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao followed suit, selecting the alchemy furnace and recipe in an orderly manner. Then handed it to Dan Hezi. Here, the quality of the alchemy furnaces is the same. There is no big problem, and the alchemy formula is also common in the market. It is not a secret alchemy formula. But after taking the alchemy formula and looking at it, Dan Hezi was not calm. Ancient Podden, a top-grade earth-grade elixir. Chapter 74, they can not only make pills but also watch the fun. Dan Hezi's old face trembled, and he even suspected that Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were here to play. Ancient Podden is very common, but it is also a top-grade earth-level elixir. Can two kids refine it? I never expected that the two kids would choose such a high level to practice. I feel like my blood pressure is a little high. It turns out that taking care of a baby is not easy. When these words were spoken, all the disciples were confused. What? Two kids want to refine the ancient Po Dan. I almost died of laughter, but I had to hold it in and didn't dare speak loudly. Wang Tianjiao's eyes widened. Then they realized what was happening and laughed. Is there something wrong, Elder Dan? Chen Ziyuan asked puzzledly. Yes, Elder Dan, my sister and I both want to refine this not-so-difficult ancient broken pill, Chen Zihao echoed. Not that difficult. Everyone almost couldn't hold it together. Ha 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 ha. Wang Tianjiao couldn't help laughing. Gu Po Dan is a top-grade Earth-level elixir. Do you want to waste herbs? As expected, the two little brats were not very smart. They came here purely to cause trouble, not to compete with him. Chen Zihao's face turned gloomy. Don't talk, you persimmon raised by the Wang family. Wang Tianjiao choked. Dan Hezi was helpless. Wasting herbs is a small matter, but you two little guys, are you sure? Chen Ziyuan smiled and said, Yes, Elder Dan, we are sure. My brother and I both refined this ancient broken pill. This left everyone speechless. It even felt like they had never heard of the ancient Po Dan, yet they were trying to refine it, like they were joking. Okay then, Dan Hezi was speechless. What else could he do? Just prepare the herbs and make them happy. After a while, disciples were sent to prepare the relevant herbs for Ronglingden and Gupaden. Then the competition begins. Wang Tianjiao sat in front of the alchemy furnace and used his own strength to activate it. Start refining the Rongling pill. He was not in a hurry, just waiting for the two little brats to blow up the furnace. It would be a miracle if they could refine the ancient Po pill. It is so ignorant that they dare to choose this grade of pill without considering their own level. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao also sat in front of the alchemy furnace in an orderly manner and began to activate it. They had never refined the ancient breaking pill, but they felt it wasn't that difficult. Of course, they have to play freely. Seeing this, everyone remained quiet and did not disturb him. Time passes by every second. Not to mention, Wang Tianjiao's Linglan pill was refined in an orderly manner, and it might even succeed. This makes everyone look forward to it. After all, Wang Tianjiao is so young, but he can control his mental power to such an extent, and can also refine the Rongling pill, which is really impressive. He is indeed a genius of the ancient royal family. On the other hand, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao, when they saw this situation, everyone almost dropped their jaws in shock. Because it looks normal, but the more normal it is at this time, the more abnormal it feels. Dan Hezi's face changed. This is such a powerful mental force. Not only do Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao have terrifying cultivation bases, their mental strength is also terrifying. But alchemy requires more than just strong mental power. How did they learn it at such a young age? No one dared to breathe, but everyone felt extremely excited inside, including Li Meieragen and Gong Luoyu, because it was their first time meeting each other. If they could really refine a top-grade Earth-level elixir, then the two little guys would no longer be able to be described as abnormal. It took a long time. Chen Ziyuan turned around and chuckled. Zio Hao, my ancient Po Dan is almost done. Of course, Chen Zihao was not convinced. Sister, mine is almost successful too. The people who didn't dare to speak were almost anxious to death. They were actually showing off to each other. I give up. They are indeed siblings, so neat and tidy. But the more this happened, the more frightened they became, and everyone started to lose their composure. Wang Tianjiao, who was waiting for Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao to explode, changed his expression after noticing this scene. How is it possible? Ancient Po Dan is a top-grade Earth-grade elixir. Alchemists who can refine ancient Po Dan are all powerful alchemists. How can 2-3-year-old kids do that? How could it be so smooth? Wang Tianjiao naturally refused to accept it and was not willing to admit it. Boom! The next moment, Wang Tianjiao exploded. Seeing this, Dan Hezi immediately took action to suppress this force to prevent Wang Tianjiao from being harmed. Wang Tianjiao was completely confused. Huh, sister, the persimmons raised by the Wang family exploded. Chen Zihao quickly turned his head to take a look. I found that Wang Tianjiao had become very dark. Chen Ziyun became happy. Zio Hao, I saw it, so we must win. Everyone panicked. Wang Tianjiao exploded. You all have to watch. What are you doing? Hissed Tilda. So, the two children's mental strength is even more terrifying than they imagined. They can still be so indecisive and not lose control. This is too perverted. How could this be? The confused Wang Tianjiao gritted his teeth unwillingly. I failed. But they are fine. He clenched his fists tightly, secretly hating himself for not being good enough. Dan Hezi shook his head. Wang Tianjiao had a great chance of success, but unfortunately he cared too much about Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao, which led to his failure. The gap is too big. Li Meierajin and Gong Luoyu's eyes lit up, and they almost treated the two little ones as their own cubs. The next moment, as Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao's auras subsided, the pill was completed. He took out a few snow-white pills from the furnace, jumping up and down with excitement. Zioa, we succeeded. Yes, sister, it doesn't feel difficult. Everyone was completely speechless. They actually managed to refine it. Are you kidding? I suddenly felt ashamed and embarrassed. I was even worse than a 3-year-old child. My old face began to turn red. Dan Hezi was equally excited and felt that it was necessary to compete with the great Saint Lord. Congratulations on your victory, little guys. He knew exactly what this meant. He was a terrifying genius in alchemy. For them, it was as easy as eating and drinking water. There was no pressure at all. His talent was incredible. Wang Tianjiao's face turned red, and he was speechless. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were still depressed, as they held the ancient broken pills they had refined. I can only ask, Elder Dan, why are the pills we refined so small? When everyone saw the miniature pills in the hands of the two children, they burst into laughter. Is this the point? Dan Hezi could tell the difference at a glance. Two little guys, the size of the pill is controlled by you. You can control it by refining it a few times. It will not affect the efficacy. As for this ancient Po, Dan, it's of pretty good quality. Perhaps due to your limited experience in refining, it hasn't reached the highest level of quality, but it's still stunning. His voice was trembling, revealing his inner excitement. He had to snatch it from the great Saint Lord no matter what. Oh. So that's how it is, Elder Dan, we understand. Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao chuckled. Dan Hezi's high evaluation was unbelievable to many disciples, but they understood what it meant. It is truly stunning and terrifying. It also made Wang Tianjiao feel so frustrated that he was about to explode. I don't accept it. Let's compete in formation again. Chapter 75. Pretty Sister Fairy Sister has no time. How could Wang Tianjiao just let it go like this? He had promised his master that if he kept failing, he would have no choice but to bow his head and apologize to the 2-3-year-old brats. How could he be willing? After these words were spoken, everyone remained speechless. It seems that the kids are having a fight. The young master of the Wang family is proud and arrogant, and still refuses to accept it. Let's compete, you're not that great anyway. Chen Ziyuan curled his lips. Chen Zihao said arrogantly, You are the son of a bitch from the Wang family. If you want to learn a lesson, my sister and I will definitely help you. Wang Tianjiao was so angry that he jumped up and down, but he couldn't win. He gritted his teeth and said, Then let's go to the formation hall. I'll show you how powerful I am. Go if you want to, but don't cry when the time comes. Of course, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao couldn't just let it go like that. As they were talking, the three children walked away cursing, went to the Zhendao Hall, leaving everyone staring in amazement. Dan Hezi's face was determined. He must talk to the great Saint Lord about this matter and let the great Saint Lord give up. He would accept disciples himself. As for the formation, he doesn't care much. On the way to the Zhendao Hall, Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao were walking in front, cursing at Wang Tianjiao all the way, neither of them willing to give in. Li Meierajin and Gong Luoyu followed helplessly from behind. It was also at this time that Mingyi appeared. You two girls are not disciples of the Nine Saints Temple, right? Li Meierajin and Gong Luoyu were not surprised to see that the other party was a disciple of the Nine Saints Temple. After all, this was the Nine Saints Temple, and they were only responsible for taking care of the children. Brother, we are indeed not disciples of the Nine Saints Temple. We are just in a special situation and need to take care of the two children. Mingyi smiled and said, I see. Since it's so special, since you are a guest, I wonder if I would be honored to invite you two ladies to have a chat. Li Meierajin was stunned. Heart-to-heart talk? What kind of heart-to-heart talk? Sorry, brother, we are inconvenienced. They are busy taking care of the kids now. Don't you see how much of a worry these two kids are? Mingyi was not in a hurry. Then I wonder when the two ladies are free, can they come to my place as guests? After Chen Zihao noticed Mingyi, he immediately ran back, not caring about arguing with Wang Tianjiao, and let his sister take care of it first. Senior brother, the beautiful sister, the fairy sister, doesn't have time. Then he pulled Li Meierajin's hand while pulling Gong Luoyu's hand. He knew that the beautiful sister and the fairy sister would be leaving soon, so he didn't have time. Li Maiajan and Gong Loyu saw this and echoed, "Thank you for the invitation, senior brother." Then they pulled Chen Zihao away. They didn't want any trouble to happen in a place like the Nine Saints Temple, otherwise it would be easy to get out of control. So the important thing now was to take care of the baby. Mingya's face turned dark. The troublemaker? He was indeed superfluous, leaving the two women to focus solely on taking care of the baby. Suddenly he noticed that Chen Zihao turned around and looked at him. With a cold snort, he could only give up. But he won't give up like this. Not far away. Zhao Hao, what is that senior brother doing? Chen Ziyuan asked in confusion. He didn't even have time to argue with Wang Tianjiao. And Wang Tianjiao naturally didn't care who Mingyu was. There are only Chen Ziyuan and Chen Zihao in his eyes. Chen Zihao muttered, "Sister, I suspect that senior brother wants to snatch away our beautiful sister, fairy sister." Chen Ziyuan didn't quite understand and just curled his lips. Then he definitely can't snatch it away. Just believe in your brother. That's right, Chen Zihao was full of confidence. Anyway, he was looking at the beautiful sister, the fairy sister. Then they continued walking towards the Zhendao Hall. As expected, Wang Tianjia was about to cry again. At this moment, the fairy world has become a mess in a short period of time. The reason, of course, is the devil's den that could erupt at any time. A shadow of possibility that demons might invade the 33 immortal realms again loomed. It makes people feel uneasy. All the major immortal realms became alert, and even sent strong men to guard against the demons appearing at any time. I heard that many powerful demons have appeared in the southern heaven immortal realm. Sure enough, the demons are still ruthless. It is said that those demons invaded Qingshuan Dao sect. What? So the demons' invasion this time is really for revenge? It must be so, otherwise they wouldn't have chosen Qingshuan Dao sect first. But didn't the immortal Emperor Yangai already leave Qingshuan Dao sect? Who knows, maybe he's just picking on the weak and seeking revenge. After all, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is even more powerful now. How could the demons dare to look for him? The Qingshuan Dao sect is too miserable. In the end, they still have to bear the consequences of the Eternal Night immortal Emperor. I just wonder if the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night will sit idly by and do nothing. If the immortal Emperor Eternal Night ignores it, the Qingshuan Dao sect will probably be helpless. That makes sense. Well, how can we guess the thoughts of such a powerful person? For a time, similar remarks were everywhere, but they are all guarding one side and have no time to care about others. In the Qingshuan Dao sect, it has fallen into complete chaos. They knew that the invasion of the demons was not a good thing, but they did not expect that the demons would attack their Qingshuan Dao sect first. For a time, many disciples and strong men were suffering terribly. Looking at the erupting demon army and the increasing casualties, he felt extremely painful. All disciples, unite and form a formation to stop the demon invasion. Each elder guards a direction. Other disciples, follow me to slay the demon. For a moment, the scene was extremely shocking and alarmed everyone. The entire Qingshuan Dao sect has become a huge battlefield. In addition, other immortal gates in the southern sky immortal realm were also jumping back and forth on the edge. Of course, they cannot ignore the invasion of demons, otherwise their own sect will fall into chaos. Now they can only look for opportunities, otherwise they will die. The other side, Mo Qingru was also in the team, resisting the invasion of demons. Of course, her face wouldn't look good either. This day has finally come. The demons came towards their Qingshuan Dao sect, clearly looking for revenge, which was also expected. But when I really face it, I still feel a lot of pressure. If we cannot resist the invasion of the demon army, the consequences will be disastrous, and even the Qingshuan Taoist sect will decline. The only thing to be thankful for is that none of the top demons from the demon clan have appeared yet, and the situation is still under control. But even so, Qingshuan Dao sect will suffer huge losses and damage the sect's fortune. The disciples around took action one after another. Kill these demons and protect our sect. Sword lights shot up into the sky, one after another. Many disciples have been seriously injured or even died. Some disciples were beaten so badly that their morale was low and fear spread within them. These demons must be coming for the Eternal Night immortal Emperor. They must be seeking revenge. Damn it, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is clearly no longer in my Qingshuan Dao sect. This is because of him. Some disciples are not strong enough and are discouraged, but I feel more depressed. The Eternal Night immortal Emperor is clearly no longer in the Qingshuan Taoist sect. But in the end, he still has to bear the consequences of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. The demons must have known that the Immortal Emperor Eternal Night was not here, so they dared to offend him like this. Otherwise, if the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is still here, these demons will have to think twice before seeking revenge. Mo Kingru's face turned cold as she listened to these complaints. If it weren't for my junior brother, you would have perished long ago, and even the Kingshuan Dao sect might have ceased to exist. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Chapter 76, Demons Invade Kingshuan Dao Sect. After hearing Mo Kingru's words, the disciples didn't dare to say anything more. Of course, they knew it was too late to say anything now. That was the decision of the sect's top leaders, and they had no power to influence it. Senior sister, we are just complaining. How dare we criticize the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night? That's right, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night must have been framed and forced to leave the sect. But it was clearly the sect's leadership's choice, yet we are forced to bear the consequences. As they were talking, a group of disciples rushed forward to kill the demons. There is no other choice, because joining Kingshuan Dao sect means bearing some consequences brought by cause and effect. Of course, Mo Kingru also knew this truth. What can she control? Without saying a word, he rushed into the battlefield again. At this time, the sect's top leaders were also thrown into disarray. The demons targeted their Kingshuan Dao sect and attacked it, obviously because of the incident when the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor suppressed the Demon Emperor. It was extremely painful for a while. Damn demons! How dare you attack my Kingshuan Dao sect? Although it is not out of control yet, it is inevitable that it will hit the sect's luck and cause casualties. This is also a huge damage to the sect's foundation. If the demons are determined to attack our Kingshuan Dao sect, then we won't be able to fight against the entire demon clan. Even if other immortal sects come to help, I'm afraid it will be too late by then. It can be imagined that if the top powerful demons come to besiege Kingshuan Dao sect, they will definitely not be able to stop them. By the time the powerful warriors from the 33 immortal realms arrive to suppress the demons together, I'm afraid it will be too late. And their Kingshuan Dao sect will become the biggest victim of this demon invasion, and will inevitably fall into decline. Everyone's expression was extremely solemn. Great Elder, have you seen Chen Zhanai before? The Great Elder shook his head helplessly. It's impossible to see Chen Zhanai, not to mention Leng Jushuang repeatedly trying to stop him, saying that Chen Zhanai is already their son-in-law in the Imperial Palace. He knew that there might be a demon cave in the Southern Heaven Immortal Realm, just like the Extreme Heaven Dao Immortal Realm, so he didn't care about seeing Chen Zhanai and hurried back. I just didn't expect it to come so quickly and so violently. The son-in-law of the Imperial Palace. The powerful men looked bitter. It would have been fine if I couldn't see Chen Zhanai, but Chen Zhanai was abducted by another woman. In any case, Kingshuan Dao sect also trained Chen Zhanai. Even if Chen Zhanai is dissatisfied, I think he will help us. That makes sense. He can't just watch Kingshuan Dao sect being destroyed because of him. The strong men are looking forward to it. No one is Chen Zhanai's opponent now. As long as Chen Zhanai is willing to show up, all troubles can be solved. At least they will not be so passive. Look, that's the sect master. Suddenly, a strong man discovered that Yi Kingshuan had personally come forward to suppress the demons. Yi Kingshuan looked at the endless demons, and the power of the immortal emperor shook away. Wherever they go, the demons will turn into ashes. As the sect leader, he could not bear to see his disciples fall into danger one by one, so he could only minimize the losses. But he also knew that once he took action, he would inevitably attract even more powerful demons. With his level, he could naturally see through everything. The demons came for Kingshuan Dao sect. Under this premise, his appearance would only cause everything to explode prematurely. But there doesn't seem to be a better way. Look, the sect master has appeared. The disciples in the battle noticed that Yi Kingshuan came personally to suppress them, and they were excited for a moment. This is the power of the immortal emperor. Most of their disciples have never seen the sect leader take action, nor have they seen the power of the immortal emperor. How can they not be shocked now? The will to fight is also aroused. With the sect master here, I will definitely ensure that our Kingshuan Dao sect is safe and sound, and our fortune will last forever. Kill these demons. But at this moment, the evil energy in the sky spread and surged forward, and the terrible pressure descended, making people suffocate. Not good. All the disciples looked terrified, and their faces began to turn pale. Under the influence of this force, they had no power to resist at all. This undoubtedly means that a more terrifying demon has appeared. The weak disciples even felt that they would lose control and become demonized if they were to look at it. Boom, boom, boom. Some disciples were directly affected and turned into ashes. Ha ha ha, Yi Kingshuan, how are you? Accompanied by a loud laugh, Anjin and Qiu appeared. They were waiting for the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night to appear. But before the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night showed up, Yi Kingshuan ran out. They couldn't just let this go. Seeing such a scene, the faces of many sect elders changed drastically. Two immortal Emperor-level demons came directly. Anjin and Qiu are well-known figures among the demons. The ordinary disciples looked at the two ghostly demons and felt terror spreading in their hearts. Yi Kingshuan was not surprised by this. Ankin Qiu, do you want to die? As the sect leader, he certainly couldn't take a step back. And Jin roared, Yi Kingshuan, you alone are no match for us. Without the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, how can the Kingshuan Taoist sect stop us? Qiu laughed wildly. Although this was their strategy to trick the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, and it was impossible for them to fight to the death with Yi Kingshuan, they still had to maintain the right attitude. Yi Kingshuan stood with his hands behind his back. Since you dare to offend my Kingshuan Dao sect, you will definitely pay the price. After saying this, Yi Kingshuan suppressed and secretly imprisoned Qiu and left. And Jin snorted coldly. Back then, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night suppressed the demon emperor of my demon clan. Today I will avenge him. Then I will start with your Kingshuan Taoist sect. Qiu also went towards Yi Kingshuan. Their intention was to test the attitude of the immortal Emperor Eternal Night. Naturally, they couldn't fight to the death. Otherwise, once the other immortal emperors reacted, they would surely surround and kill them, and it would be difficult for them to escape unscathed. The gain does not outweigh the loss. Now, as long as we achieve our goal, we must retreat immediately. As for revenge for the demon emperor, it is of course a cover. There is no need for revenge because they have a bigger picture. For a moment, a battle between the strongest men began. Under the influence of this power, the other disciples and demons had to retreat. Ancient Zio Fairyland, Chen Zhanai and Zia Jiao are still leisurely. The two of them were squatting in a demon cave not far away, continuing to live a lazy life. There was no movement in the demon cave, and they were too lazy to move. So it seems that this place is extremely peaceful. I don't know what Su Jiazhu is busy with, but they are just staring at the magic cave in a daze. I think there is no big problem for the time being. Zia Jiao held Chen Zhanai's hand and said, Husband, there is still no movement in this demon cave. Their waiting was quite boring. If the demons didn't show up, the two immortal emperors would be useless. Chen Zhanai smiled and said, Madam, it's a good thing that there is no movement. It also saves some trouble. Zia Jiao thought for a moment and speculated. Husband, do you think this sudden demon invasion is aimed at you? Maybe, but it doesn't matter. Chen Zhanai didn't care much. His current task is to protect his wife. Zia Jiao probably understood what her husband was thinking. Blinking, she said, Husband, am I important then? Chapter 77, Husband. I suspect they want to turn you against the government. Facing Zia Jiao's sudden flirting, Chen Zhanai smiled indulgently. Madam, of course you are important. Nothing is more important than you two. Then he held her in his arms. Zia Jiao felt warm inside. She knew that after her husband had gone through some things, he was not very interested in the troubles of the fairyland. Of course, she understood and would accompany him. My husband, you are just as important to me. So if the demon's target of this invasion is you, I'm especially worried. Chen Zhanai looked at Zia Jiao and asked, Madam, what do you mean? He thought the demons might be here to seek revenge, but he also felt that women's intuition was very accurate. Husband, think about it. The demons knew that you had returned again and were even more powerful, so why would they choose to invade the fairyland at this time? Zia Jiao asked back. Chen Zhanai thought for a moment and said, The first possibility is that a stronger demon has emerged in the demon clan, which is why they are so confident. However, it seems that this possibility cannot be proven at the moment. The second possibility is that there is another purpose for this. That's right, Zia Jiao nodded. The possibility of a more powerful demon being born within the demon clan is extremely small. Therefore, the second scenario is more likely. Furthermore, the demons only started to move after you appeared, clearly coming for you. So they have other goals and they must be targeting you. Chen Zhanai probably understood. What do you think the purpose of this is, madam? Of course, Zia Jiao couldn't be sure. Said, maybe I want to lure you out, or maybe I don't want to lure you out. Chen Zhanai suddenly realized, so madam, you think their target is me. To lure him out, that's unlikely. So it means that you don't want to lure him to show up, which is equivalent to testing him. Zia Jiao nodded, then looked at Chen Junai with a strange expression. Husband, I suspect they want to turn you against the government. Looking at his wife's appearance, Chen Junai laughed. Rebellion, why would Madam think so? Zia Jiao said slowly, My husband, the demons must know about what happened to you. In their eyes, it's a civil war in the immortal realm. This is a good opportunity to use a strategy of discord. Perhaps they want to gain a few points from this. Besides, your power leans towards the dark side, and they might want to take advantage of it. Also, it's said that the demons have launched a massive attack on the Qingshuan Dao sect in the southern heavenly immortal realm. This is clearly an attempt to test your attitude. Otherwise, why not other immortal realms, other immortal sects? Chen Junai felt that what his wife said made sense. Ma'am, perhaps, but it doesn't matter. He is now obsessed with love and has no time to think about these troublesome things. Zia Jiao leaned towards Chen Junai. What the husband meant was that nothing else mattered. She was the most important. Husband, if that's true, then the immortal realm will definitely be safe. At least the demons can't pose too much of a threat to the immortal realm. Madam is right. If the demons cannot achieve their goal, they will naturally leave. Chen Junai felt that the demons were playing with fire, jumping back and forth. If they fail, the demons may suffer greater losses and become even more vulnerable. Zia Jiao smiled and said, My dear, after the demons retreat, we will go home and see Yuaner and Hayar. Chen Junai understood what his wife meant. She was simply afraid that something unexpected would happen in the Jidao Imperial Palace at this critical moment. Okay, ma'am, wait until the demons retreat. As they talked, the couple snuggled together again and started to play games, staring at the magic cave not far away, talking about love, chatting, and laughing. There was no movement in the devil's cave, so they just had to stay still. They could even have some snacks and drink some fruit wine. Time passes slowly. The appearance of an immortal emperor-level demon in the southern sky immortal realm caused an uproar. Moreover, the demon clan's first target was the Qingshuan Dao sect, which was impossible to defend against, causing many powerful warriors to exclaim that it was too tragic. The appearance of a demon at the level of immortal emperor is no small matter, because it means that it can pose a threat to the immortal emperor of the immortal realm. Once an immortal emperor is besieged and dies, it will definitely be a huge loss. But we can't blame others. We can only see whether Qingshuan Dao sect can withstand the attack and whether it can withstand it. Of course, even if it could be blocked, the Qingshuan Dao sect would inevitably suffer serious injuries. They are also on guard against the invasion of the fairyland, where they are by demons at the level of the immortal emperor. They are unable to cope with the situation at the moment and can only wish for the best. Not long, the demons from all the major immortal realms erupted simultaneously, shocking everyone and causing chaos. Of course, it's not as difficult as the Qingshuan Dao sect. After all, there are only a handful of demons at the immortal emperor level. It all depends on your luck. Soon, many powerful people noticed something was wrong. It seemed that the demons were here to play around. They surrounded them but did not attack, as if they were just trying to cause trouble. When demons appeared in many demon caves, they were easily suppressed by them, let alone causing them serious damage. For a while, everyone was speculating about what the demons' purpose was. Why is this? Leng Jiushuang in the Jidao Imperial Palace also noticed this. Could it be that the demon clan's target is only the Qingshuan Dao sect? They made great efforts to prepare for the response, but found that they could now easily suppress the invading demons. It was not as difficult as imagined, and it did not cause huge losses. Leng Jiushuang's face turned cold, and she felt like she was being fooled. What is the purpose of the demon clan? Forget it, never mind. Anyway, the Jidao Imperial Palace is fine, which means they won't be under too much pressure and don't have to worry about being besieged. Qingshuan Dao sect had to bear all of it. I just don't know where Xiao and the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night have gone. If nothing unexpected happens, with them taking action, the Su family and Su Qingsu will be fine. After they ran out, there was no trace of them, which always made people feel unreliable. Qingshuan Dao sect. The battle at the immortal emperor level has been going on for a long time. This made some powerful immortals who came to support miserable and trembling, and they had no strength to intervene at all. I can only watch from afar, hoping that Yi Qingshuan can block everything. Otherwise, the southern sky immortal realm will be in danger. At this time, Yi Qingshuan also noticed something. Secretly imprisoning Qiu Qi, what is your purpose? Obviously, I won't fight him to the death. Is this an attitude of revenge? After secretly imprisoning Qiu Qi and Yi Qingshuan for a while, they found that the eternal night immortal emperor did not show up, and they both started laughing. Of course, they did it on purpose. It was impossible for them to fight Yi Qingshuan to the death, otherwise it would be difficult to recover from the trauma. Yi Qingshuan, we have something to do today, so we'll let your Qingshuan Dao sect go for now. After making these harsh remarks, the two demons started to run away, and their voices became farther and farther away. The steaming demonic energy began to dissipate, and the huge demon abyss army also retreated. They had already achieved their goal and confirmed that the immortal emperor of eternal night would not aid the Qingshuan Dao sect. They were very satisfied with this attitude. Next, we just need to observe the situation. After all, we are still not sure whether the eternal night immortal emperor will interfere in the affairs of other immortal realms. If the immortal Emperor Yang still didn't show up, it meant that Yang had no intention of interfering in the entire immortal realm. Then they would go to the Jidao Imperial Palace and persuade the immortal Emperor Yang to rebel. Seeing the demons leave without saying a word, everyone was stunned for a moment. Chapter 78. The demons descended upon the Jidao Imperial Palace. They came to snatch people away. It's over. Is this the end? Afterwards, everyone reacted and breathed a sigh of relief. The demons have finally retreated. Otherwise, the demons will continue to invade, and the consequences of fighting like this will be absolutely disastrous. But why did the demons suddenly retreat? It's obvious that the sect master doesn't have a good way to deal with them. Never mind him. Retreating is a good thing. We can also take a break. A group of surviving disciples are still in shock, feeling like they have survived a catastrophe. Naturally, I don't have time to think so much. Many sect leaders were also puzzled. But this is a good thing anyway. What exactly is the demon clan's purpose? I'm afraid they are on guard against attacks from powerful beings from other immortal realms. Otherwise, it would be difficult for them to escape. That makes sense. Apart from this explanation, there seems to be no other reasonable possibility. Then he immediately ordered, all disciples clean up the battlefield. All of a sudden, everyone started to get busy. Mo Qingru covered her injured arm and breathed a sigh of relief. Junior brother is really having a love affair with his wife and won't be here. Yi Qingshuan watched the many demons retreating, so it was naturally impossible for him to chase after them. After all, he didn't have a good way to deal with the imprisoned Qiu Qi. If the demons hadn't retreated on their own initiative, this battle wouldn't have had a good outcome. At best, both sides would suffer losses. If he was seriously injured, the Qingshuan Dao sect would also fall into decline. If you want to completely crush the invasion of the demons, the best way is to unite with other powerful people in the fairyland and take action together to minimize the losses. But why on earth is that? He was also a little confused about why the demons did this. It is obvious that the demons do not have the strength to invade the fairyland again. Otherwise, by the time the powerful people react, this invasion will inevitably fail, and the demons will even suffer heavy losses. However, they came here with courage. It's hard to believe that there is no other purpose. Is it really just revenge? Revenge, Chen Junai. Immediately afterwards, Yi Qingshuan seemed to have thought of something and his expression changed. After a long silence, he sighed. I hope this isn't the case. Otherwise, it will be a disaster for the 33 immortal realms. He didn't dare to bet on Chen Junai's temperament because Chen Junai had already changed. A few days passed. The matter of the demons invading the fairy world is still a hot topic. However, the fact that the demons retreated from Qingshuan Dao's sect left many powerful people puzzled. Is this the attitude of seeking revenge? He ran away halfway through the fight. It feels like the demons this time are both weak and playful. They want revenge but don't want to be in danger. If the demons were not so hard to guard against, and their true intentions were not so difficult to determine, it would feel like they could be easily driven back to the demon world. Could it be that the demons have other purposes for doing this? The powerful men couldn't figure it out, but they didn't dare to gamble, otherwise their own interests would suffer huge losses, which they were unwilling to bear. And on this day, the demon army descended on the Jishiandao immortal realm in a mighty force. Several immortal emperor-level powerful men within the demon clan also appeared. This naturally includes secret bands and hatred of puppets. Noticing such a commotion, Leng Jiushuang certainly couldn't just sit there and do nothing. Show up immediately. Do you want to die? Then he attacked without saying a word. After the demons attacked Qingshuan Dao sect, they immediately came to their Jishin Dao immortal realm. Is there any need to wonder why? It must be because of Chen Zhanai. However, she had been prepared for this day and was ready to deal with it. Furthermore, without the demon emperor in charge, these demons were not as powerful as hers. Even if they couldn't be easily wiped out, it wouldn't be a big problem to delay them until the eternal night immortal emperor returned. With Chen Zhanai backing her up, she was naturally confident. See Leng Jiushuang coming to kill him. Many powerful demons were panicking. They were not here to fight. Leng Jiushuang, we are here to find the immortal Emperor Yangai today. Facts proved that the results were satisfactory to them. Even with all the commotion, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night did not show up. This is great. Otherwise, their demon emperor and the Eternal Night immortal emperor have a life and death feud. And when the demons appear, the Eternal Night immortal emperor should be the first to show up. Leng Jiushuang thought he was not a fool. This palace master naturally knows. Who else could we look for with such great fanfare except Chen Zhanai? Why so much nonsense? But you're courting death. Then he suppressed it with one hand. Boom, boom, boom. And Jin's expression changed. Leng Jiushuang, we are not here to fight with you. They suspected Leng Jiushuang was treating them like fools. With the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night now so powerful, how could they dare to come and seek revenge? If you don't want to fight, then get out. Leng Jiushuang felt that this was a trick of the demons and of course would not believe it easily. As soon as he arrived, he was scolded, and the powerful demons also became angry. If they didn't know where to find the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, they wouldn't come here. I simply ignored Leng Jiushuang, this troublesome woman. Qiuqi's voice shook out. Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, my millions of demon army are willing to serve you as their master. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is willing to guard the demon abyss and be crowned the demon emperor, we will submit. This master, of course, means the master. And they heard that the immortal Emperor Eternal Night had appeared in the immortal realm of Jishiandao before. If the immortal Emperor Eternal Night was still here, he would definitely be able to hear their voices. Of course, this is also a gamble. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is willing, then their goal can be achieved, and all the losses and risks incurred in this operation are worth it. The demon clan can also become much stronger because of this, and just thinking about it makes the demons excited. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night was unwilling, then everything would be in vain. They would even be in danger now, unable to escape. The reason why they dared to show up like this was because the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night had never appeared before. Otherwise, he has hatred in his heart, and if these demons appear, the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor will definitely kill them, not to mention not showing up. This means that they are not on the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor's kill list, so he can jump back and forth and take a gamble. Upon hearing this, Leng Jiushuang, who was rushing over to kill them, was stunned. He didn't care about chopping off these demons and stopped where he was. His face darkened, then turned angry. I never expected that the demons would have such a plan. Stealing their imperial son-in-law. How shameless. Bah, the demons are truly unscrupulous, even trying to incite the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to revolt. What a foolish dream. No wonder I felt something was wrong before. It turns out the demons were doing this to test Chen Zhanai's attitude. He wasn't looking for revenge on Chen Zhanai. He actually wanted to go back and calm the situation down. Then she would definitely be the first one to disagree. A fool's dream. Humph, we are demons. Leng Jiushuang, you can't stop us. Anjin snorted coldly. If they hadn't been unable to meet the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, they wouldn't have bothered to talk nonsense with Leng Jiushuang. How dare you? This is an important place in the fairyland. Leng Jiushuang shouted angrily. The Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is my son-in-law in the Imperial Palace. How could he possibly do as you wish? Get out of here. We must make things clear with these demons today. You must be kidding. If Chen Zhanai was really kidnapped, it would be a disaster for the 33 immortal realms. Qiuqi frowned. The Emperor's son-in-law. Then he sneered, Humph, what good is there in being a mere son-in-law of the Imperial Palace? How can I be as free as the Lord of the demonic abyss? Leng Jiushuang, don't be so confident. How do you know that the immortal Emperor Yangai will give up the temptation of ruling the demon world for a woman? Grab it. If the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor is snatched away, what can Leng Jiushuang say then? Chapter 79. The demons are here to snatch the Eternal Night Emperor. Hearing this, Leng Jiushuang calmed down. Then I thought about Chen Zhanai and Zia Zhao. He even smiled. Humph, don't be so confident. Although there were some unexpected things with the Eternal Knight Immortal Emperor, returning to the Demon Abyss with you to become the Demon Emperor is simply a joke. Furthermore, trying to use this incident to strengthen the Demon Clan is nothing but wishful thinking. She felt that the cause and effect of Chen Junai's actions and the harm she had done to Chen Junai were not enough to make Chen Junai angry enough to lose his mind. Not to mention they already have children. The demons will definitely not be able to snatch their Jidao Imperial Palace. Seeing Leng Jushuang so confident, many demons frowned. Could it be that there was some hidden secret that they didn't know about? Otherwise, where did Leng Jushuang get his confidence from? But they have already started a big fight. How can they give up easily? He said coldly, Leng Jushuang, although I don't know where you get your confidence from, but don't be too happy too soon. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is willing to guard the Demon Abyss, then we can accept the Empress of your Jidao Imperial Palace as the mistress of the Demon Realm. It's not a big deal to follow them. I'm just worried that this hostess might be an undercover agent. Hearing this, Leng Jushuang gritted his teeth and wanted to curse. This demon actually wanted to kidnap Xia Xiao. Once you play it this way, it's really possible. Dream on. My Jidao Imperial Palace will never associate with the demons. Humph, before the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night shows up. Who could possibly know? You're looking for death. If you don't want to die, get out of here. Just you? We won't leave easily until we meet the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Heh, you'll only die faster when you meet the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Bullshit, Leng Jushuang, do you think we are fools? The Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is obviously just staying out of this matter. He has no intention of interfering in the affairs of the 33 immortal realms. Otherwise, if he wanted to interfere and wipe us out, he would have shown up long ago. You're probably overthinking it. The Eternal Night Immortal Emperor is just a loving couple, and they're just wasting time. Nonsense. Leng Jushuang, don't even think about tricking us into leaving. Today, we must meet the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. If you insist on doing this, don't blame me for being ruthless. Who's afraid of who? Both sides started to curse at each other. Leng Jushuang certainly didn't know what Chen Junai was thinking, but in any case, this was not a good sign. And now, Chen Junai and Xia Xiao have disappeared without a trace, so she is the only one left to deal with the demons, take on everything. Moreover, as long as we delay time, even if Chen Junai does not show up, these demons will definitely leave obediently, unless they really want to die. The demons were naturally unwilling to see the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night. But was the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night really not here? Otherwise, with all the commotion, why hadn't he appeared yet? That's strange. They also knew that they couldn't stay here for too long. If they still couldn't see the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, they would have no choice but to retreat. Otherwise, if they continued to tangle with Leng Jushuang, they would be in danger and unable to escape. After all, this is the territory of the fairyland. But before they met the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, they really had no way to deal with Leng Jushuang, the troublesome woman. Otherwise, they were afraid that it would backfire and they would fail in their goal and get nothing. The demon army invaded the Jishiandao Immortal Realm with great fanfare, with such great momentum and arrogance that it made many immortals panic. But suddenly, I heard what the demons were saying. Let the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night guard the Demon Abyss. Crown him the Demon Emperor. Are you still willing to worship the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night as your master? Confused, I thought the demons were here for revenge, but it turned out they were here to incite rebellion. Shameless, scare them. And they heard the voice of the demon clan clearly before. It must be true. In other words, the demons really came to snatch the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so arrogant, no hiding. How outrageous. The expressions of many powerful immortals became solemn. If the demons really succeed, if the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night really escapes, it will be a disaster for the immortal realm. No one wants to see it, but they couldn't interfere. My strength doesn't allow it. Soon, the news that the demons attacked the Qingshuan Dao sect and then fled without saying a word, and then appeared again in the Jishan Dao Star domain spread quickly. Such a huge movement is difficult to conceal, but I thought the demon army was going to cause trouble for the Jidao Imperial Palace. But it turned out that they wanted to incite the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to rebel. So this is the true purpose of the demons' invasion of the immortal realm, to take them by surprise and sneak through Chenkang. No wonder they're so bold even without the demon emperor in charge. But if the demons really succeed, the consequences will be unimaginable. For a time, it caused turmoil in all directions. This time, they are not afraid of the demons, but they are afraid that the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night will run away with the demons. If he really runs to the demon abyss to guard the demon realm, that will definitely be a terrible disaster for the 33 immortal realms. No one wants to see that. The powerful giants from various immortal realms came out one after another with solemn expressions. Immediately rushed to the Jishiandao immortal realm. They don't agree with this. It must be stopped. They don't care about their hometown at all. Anyway, the purpose of the demons' appearance is not their hometown. Now we must work together to intimidate the demons. Otherwise, coming to the 33 immortal realms to snatch people is simply too arrogant. The main reason is that they cannot be sure of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor's thoughts, and they cannot take a gamble. In Qingshuan Dao sect, everyone was in a panic. How could it be? The demons attacked our sect just to test the attitude of the immortal Emperor Eternal Night. The same is true for invading the 33 immortal realms. The real purpose is to incite the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to rebel. No matter how they react now, it is too late. The demon army has already stepped into the Jishiandao Immortal Realm. Maybe you can really meet the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night. Who would dare to bet on the current attitude of the Eternal Night Emperor? From the beginning to the end of the demonic invasion of the Immortal Realm, the Eternal Night Emperor has never appeared. What does this mean? But who knew the demons were so shameless? After all, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night suppressed the Demon Emperor, so he should be the demon's mortal enemy. Who could have predicted such a move? Many disciples of the sects had just fought off the invasion of the demons, and now their faces were pale. If the demons succeed, the consequences will be disastrous. It must be the calamity of the immortal realm. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is truly willing to guard the demon abyss, then my Qingshuan Dao sect will be blamed. It was their Qingshuan Dao sect that chilled the heart of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Now that the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor has returned, everything is too late. But who can be sure that the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor will really run away when he gets angry? After all, he was the Lord of the demonic abyss. He was far more powerful and immensely larger than any other individual immortal realm. Then their Qingshuan Dao sect would be the biggest scapegoat, the culprit of all the 33 immortal realms, and be condemned by thousands. Mo Qingru was also confused. The sect's top leaders were also dumbfounded. They didn't expect that the demons actually wanted to use this cause and effect to strengthen themselves. Even the demons don't want revenge anymore. Then who dares to bet on what Chen Junai is thinking now? Yi Qingshuan sighed deeply. What's coming has finally come. Chapter 80. You talk too much, just say it. Yi Qingshuan had some guesses before, but it was hard to believe. After all, Chen Junai suppressed the demon emperor and killed countless demons. He should be the mortal enemy of the demon clan. I never thought that the demon clan could really let go of all this hatred for the sake of their own interests. He even took advantage of the cause and effect between their Qingshuan Dao sect and Chen Junai. Now it really happened as he thought, but it was still hard for him to accept it. Sect Master, many elders hesitated to speak and remained silent. I just stopped the invasion of the demons and haven't even breathed a sigh of relief yet, but now I encounter this kind of thing again. It's really a headache. Master, we must not let the demons succeed. Otherwise, our Qingshuan Dao sect will become the target of public criticism. By then, everyone will say that it was my Qingshuan Dao sect that forced Chen Junai away, causing the demon clan to grow stronger and the fairyland to be in trouble. My Qingshuan Dao sect will inevitably be isolated and even condemned by thousands of people. It will fall from grace. Master, we must stop the demons, stop Chen Junai. A group of strong men were filled with righteous indignation and secretly cursed the demons for being shameless. Our own demon emperor doesn't care and actually comes to snatch people. At this critical moment, and with the relationship so delicate, they are caught in a dilemma. Who among you can stop it? Yi Qingshuan just asked casually. This left many powerful people speechless, but I still feel unwilling. Master, are we just going to sit there and wait for death? Once Chen Junai gives in, the prestige that the Qingshuan Dao sect has built up over countless years will be wiped out. Every grievance has its perpetrator, every debt has its owner, every cause and effect has its source, and my Qingshuan Dao sect will certainly not be able to stay out of it. Faced with the concerns of many powerful people, Yi Qingshuan closed his eyes. Immortals and demons share the same origin. If Chen Junai really makes that choice, we won't be able to stop him. But Sect Master, no need to say more, but what do you think Chen Junai will choose? The expressions of the strong men were still not good. Before, Chen Junai would definitely not agree. But now his temperament has changed drastically. Even with such a major event happening in the immortal realm, he has not shown up, I'm afraid. Besides, the demons were able to let go of their hatred and surrender. Conversely, Chen Junai might also be able to let go of his hatred for the demons. If he has feelings for the immortal realm, then it's fine. But now it seems, I'm afraid he's in great danger. Once Chen Junai chooses to fall into the devil's way, it will be too late. Master, there are many examples of people falling into evil because of this kind of thing. We absolutely cannot gamble on Chen Junai's ideas. Maybe Yi Qingshuan sighed again. Based on what I know about him, he wouldn't do that. Since the demons dare to gamble, why don't we dare to gamble? Upon hearing this, many powerful men fell silent. If the sect leader said this, it would definitely comfort them. But I'm still worried. Sect Master, why don't you go to the Jishiandao immortal realm and take a look? That makes sense. All the major immortal sects must join forces to suppress the arrogant demons. It wouldn't be appropriate for us not to go. Ancient Zio Fairyland. Su family. Because she was worried about what Zia Jiao knew, Su Qingsu couldn't rest at all. I can't fall asleep with my eyes wide open. As a result, she heard other gossip, which made her even more energetic. Now, he jumped out of the bed with a serious look on his face. What? Dad, are you saying that the demon's invasion of the 33 immortal realms this time is actually to incite the eternal night immortal emperor to rebel? Su Qingsu almost shouted out. Why are you shouting so loudly? Su Jiazhu glared at his daughter. He was definitely happy that his daughter was fine, but how could she shout so loudly? Qingsu, don't be so noisy. As a woman, you should be calm and quiet. Su Qingsu was stunned. Her father had never said this to her before. I don't care. Dad, this is my Su family. There's nothing wrong with it. Then you should speak a little more quietly and don't disturb others, Su Jiazhu said seriously. The immortal Emperor Eternal Night lives in their Su family. It is not appropriate for their daughter to talk about him so loudly. Don't think he can't guess it if you don't tell him. The story of the Eternal Night Emperor descending on the Jidao Palace and beheading the 3 emperors caused a lot of uproar. Needless to say, it's clear that the man next to Zia Jiao is the Eternal Night Emperor. Fortunately, everything was inexplicably resolved easily, and the Su family did not suffer any losses, but they almost lost a daughter. He was also shocked, but he didn't dare to say much, which is why he didn't dare to order the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to take action when the demon cave broke out. Otherwise, it would be impolite to the guests. Who can be disturbed? Su Qingsu curled her lips and muttered. What did you say? It's nothing, Dad. I mean, why do the demons need the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to guard the demon abyss? Su Qingsu's eyes lit up. I always feel that this matter is not simple. Su Jiazhu was slightly solemn. I don't know. I'm afraid it's for profit. And then he wants to take advantage of the cause and effect of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to see if he can achieve his goal, Su Qingsu guessed. Su Jiazhu nodded, maybe. Su Qingsu then became a little unhappy. If the demons succeed, the consequences will be disastrous. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night falls into the devil's way, guards the demon abyss, and becomes the demon emperor, I'm afraid even the 33 immortal realms will find it difficult to stop him. Su Jiazhu hummed, indeed. Then we must stop the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, stop the demons, Su Qingsu analyzed. Su Jiazhu frowned. How could he stop this? It would be embarrassing. Su Qingsu continued. Dad, do you think the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night will truly fall into the path of evil because of this? After all, the demon abyss is more powerful than any other immortal realm. Furthermore, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night has long been disappointed with the Qingshuan Dao sect, and I'm afraid he no longer has any attachment to the 33 immortal realms. Su Jiazhu pondered for a moment, then quickly shook his head. I don't know. Just don't let your daughter implicate him when she speaks. Su Qingsu sighed helplessly. It's hard to guess what the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is thinking. It's possible and impossible. Anyway, I still hope he doesn't set foot in a place like the Demon Abyss, otherwise we will suffer. Su Jiazhu thought about it carefully, and felt that there was no need to worry too much about this, right? Perhaps. Su Qingsu frowned. Dad, why aren't you talking much today? Is your throat uncomfortable? You talk too much, just do it yourself, Su Jiazhu responded. I talk too much. Su Qingsu felt that there was something wrong with her father. But at this moment, Zia Jiao and Chen Junai came back. Qingsu. They ran back after finding it boring to guard the devil's cave. Jiao, Mr. Chen, you are back. Su Qingsu felt it necessary to talk about important matters with the couple. Su Jiazhu smiled when he saw this. Since you two have returned, I won't disturb you. You can chat. Then just run away. It was all said by his daughter. It has nothing to do with him. He didn't want to know too much, nor did he want to talk too much. Anyway, it was useless for the real person to say anything. Seeing her father leave, Su Kingsu didn't care. She just didn't know why her father was a little abnormal today, so she avoided him without saying a word. Then he said seriously, "Jiao, Master Chen, do you know that the demon's invasion of the immortal realm this time is actually to incite the rebellion of the eternal night immortal emperor?" Chapter 81 Su Kingsu. Is there anything else I don't know? Jia was stunned for a moment. Kingsu, are you serious? Chen Jun was also stunned for a moment. It seemed that his wife had guessed it right. Of course I take it seriously. Su Kingsu glanced back and forth at the two of them, then continued. What my father said couldn't be false. However, if the demons have other motives, then invading the immortal realm is just a pretext and a test. This way, the immortal realm won't be in chaos for the time being. This is also good news. The couple looked at each other. Jiao didn't know what her husband would think about this, or what choice he would make. However, given his strength, she wasn't too worried and naturally respected his decision. Chen Jun didn't know what decision his wife wanted him to make. In fact, all of this was of no importance to him. Without any interests involved, everything was just a passing cloud. If he had to have an idea, he hoped it would be the possibility of protecting Yuaner and Hayar, because he really no longer has his own power in the immortal realm. Of course, this is not important. Su Kingsu looked at the two of them in confusion. What are you looking at each other for? Let's get down to business. This matter is of no small importance. Once the demons achieve their goal, the consequences will be unimaginable. Chen Jun asked, Miss Su, do you really feel that the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night will comply with the wishes of the demons? I can't be sure, but I can't help but be on guard. It's just this hazy feeling. After all, the immortal Emperor Yang was originally expelled from the Qingshuan Dao sect, so it's inevitable that he would be angry. The fact that he didn't return to the Qingshuan Dao sect after returning is proof of this, and the previous time he took action against the various immortal emperors was also proof of this. Plus, there seems to be no sign of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor appearing during this demon invasion, which shows that he no longer cares about the immortal realm today. Su Kingsu chattered on and on. Also, although the demons are hateful, the demon abyss is vast, and can be regarded as a combination of several immortal realms. The Lord of the Demon Abyss is indeed quite tempting. Oh, and if the demons can let go of their hatred and not seek revenge for the Demon Emperor, then the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night might be able to let go of his hatred. His Eternal Night ability is of a dark nature, and it seems that he could easily fall into the path of demons. So this possibility is not impossible. Su Kingsu looked at the two of them seriously, already sensing the seriousness of the matter. Chen Jun felt that what Su Kingsu said made sense. Jia also felt that what Su Kingsu said made sense, but she still wanted to laugh. Jia, what are you laughing at? Did I say something wrong? Su Kingsu was a little dissatisfied. She was so serious, but Jia was actually laughing secretly. Kingsu, you are right, Jia said, looking at Chen Jun. Blinking, she said, Husband, what do you think? What will you choose? Upon hearing this, Chen Jun knew that his wife would definitely respect his opinion. He smiled and said, Madam, I will be very embarrassed if I do this. Oh, Jia understood what her husband meant. Could her husband agree with the demon's idea? Doesn't my husband care about his reputation? So it's obvious what my husband will choose, at least for now. Madam, there is still a lot of time, don't rush. Once the demons retreat, we will return to the lower realm, the ancient continent. Chen Jun didn't take it seriously. However, he felt that he could make use of this matter. Okay, Jia looked like a little wife. Su Kingsu was confused by what she heard and what she saw, and she couldn't get a word in. Jiao asked Master Chen what options he has. What does it mean? As for the couple going to the lower world, she could understand it. It was to see Yuaner and Hayar, and she, Aunt Kingsu, also wanted to see it. What's the problem? Jiao asked back. Kingsu, isn't it more appropriate to consider it from a man's perspective? Yes, after Su Kingsu realized what was going on, it was as if she had suddenly been enlightened. If you think about it this way, then the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night must be trying to save face. Young Master Chen is absolutely right. It's impossible that the demon clan wants to incite the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to rebel, and the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor will approve of it. After all, he is a peak Immortal Emperor. In other words, the demon clan's plan was doomed to fail from the very beginning. Although the demon clan's purpose caught them by surprise, it was still acceptable if they thought about it this way. That's right, Zia Jiao nodded in agreement. Since my husband has spoken, it must be like this. Jiao, you react really quickly. You can even consider putting yourself in someone else's shoes, Su Kingsu said admiringly. Of course, but you should thank my husband. Hey, your husband, Tilda, Su Kingsu rolled her eyes. No wonder I felt that Zia Jiao's temperament had changed before. It turned out that she had been secretly nourished by her husband. Thank you indeed, Master Chen. By the way, Jiao, tell me what you knew before. And how did you and the palace master block the palace of the desolate emperor? Su Kingsu said impatiently. Zia Jiao asked doubtfully, Kingsu, you don't know yet. Emperor Baiyuan has already fallen. What fall? Su Kingsu's eyes widened. She woke up from her sleep and wondered what had happened before. The two immortal emperors of the desolate Emperor Palace are actually dead. Indeed, so there's no trouble now. Didn't your father mention that to you? No, Su Kingsu's face froze. She had taken a nap, and after waking up, her father had gone to deal with the demon cave. When they met just now, he had mentioned the demon clan, but not the desolate Emperor Palace. Zia Jiao realized that Su Jiazhu might have guessed her husband's identity, so she didn't say anything more. I see. It's good that he died, Su Kingsu said angrily. No matter why, death is a good thing. But Jiao, how did you and the palace master do it? Those were two immortal emperors. There must be something wrong with this, otherwise a powerful immortal emperor wouldn't die so easily. Bai Yuan's death was possible, but Dai Jun's death was truly unbelievable. Zia Jiao looked at Chen Zhenai, then said solemnly, Kingsu, since you don't know, I'll tell you. But it's a long story, I hope you're mentally prepared. I thought Su Kingsu would be the one to turn her elbow outward, but now it seems it's not Su Kingsu's turn. Su Kingsu also looked at Chen Zhenai, wondering why Zia Jiao kept looking at her little husband. I wondered, mental preparation, is it that serious? Zia Jiao nodded solemnly. Then I won't ask you, I'll ask Mr. Chen. Su Kingsu turned and looked at Chen Zhenai. Mr. Chen, you should know what happened, right? Zia Jiao was speechless. Chen Zhenai was speechless for a moment. He didn't know why his wife was so serious, which made him feel a little nervous inside. Is there something else he doesn't know? He said nervously, Miss Su, actually. Emperor Yang, the demons have descended upon the Jidao Imperial Palace. All the powerful immortal emperors should go and suppress them. At this time, Su Jiazhu ran back in a panic. Chapter 82, Zia Jiao's little husband turned out to be the eternal night immortal emperor. Su Jiazhu came here specifically to inform them, because the Yunxiao Tianting sect, the leading force in their Guxiao immortal realm, also went to the Jidao Imperial Palace to join in the fun. But he felt that the eternal night immortal emperor had to come forward. After all, it was caused by the eternal night immortal emperor, and it was also related to the Jidao Imperial Palace behind Zia Jiao. Otherwise, who knows what huge trouble will arise. What? Su Kingsu exclaimed without waiting for Chen Zhenai to speak. Their Jidao Imperial Palace was truly plagued by many disasters. Just now, there was the incident at the desolate Emperor Palace, and now the demons had gone there again, and other immortal emperors had also descended. What? Kingsu, don't talk, Su Jiazhu said disdainfully. He came here to talk about serious matters. Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Su Kingsu acted as if she didn't hear anything. His eyes widened as he looked at Chen Zhenai. Could it be? I looked at Zia Jiao again, and found that she was looking like a little wife holding her husband. Confused. Completely confused. Hey, you girl, Su Jiazhu said seriously. Kingsu, don't be rude. Don't interrupt. Master Su, it's okay. Chen Zhenai smiled. As for Su Jiazhu knowing his identity, it was normal. Then he said, Miss Su, this is a long story. Phew, he was relieved too. Otherwise, he wouldn't have understood why his wife was so serious. It would have been awkward. Luckily, Su Jiazhu came to the rescue. Su Kingsu was stunned. Zia Jiao's little husband didn't even deny it. So he is really the immortal emperor of eternal night. She suspected she was still asleep. Zia Jiao looked as if she couldn't be blamed. Su Jiazhu ignored his daughter and asked solemnly, Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, what about the Extreme Dao Imperial Palace? Don't worry about it, Chen Zhenai said casually. With the appearance of so many powerful people, the demons will naturally retreat. I believe the Jidao Imperial Palace will not be in too much trouble, and by then my wife and I will also leave. He was too lazy to join in the fun, and had no intention of doing so. When Su Jiazhu heard this, he knew that it was not a big problem. After all, as long as the demon emperor did not appear, the demons could not cause any big waves. and naturally he couldn't say much. It seems that the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night does not want to make his position clear. The more this is the case, the more speculation there is. That makes sense. Since the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night has considered everything, I apologize for disturbing you. He bowed, stared at Su-Kingsu, and left the room. He and the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor had nothing to talk about. If it weren't for his daughter, he wouldn't even be able to see such a being. As for thanking her, he had already thanked her, so there was no need for any more nonsense. Just let them know. After Su Jiazhu left, the whole room became extremely quiet. Su-Kingsu couldn't accept the reality for a long time, staring blankly at Chen Zhanai, the living immortal emperor of Eternal Night. It turns out that Xia Xiao didn't put herself in the other person's shoes. She just asked the person involved. She thought Xia Xiao was so smart. It turns out she was using the back door. No wonder she had to be mentally prepared. After all, when she was with Xia Xiao, she often used the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor as gossip, and now the gossip was right in front of her. But the benefits were also obvious. At least now she could be sure that the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night would not run away with the demons. Seeing Su-Kingsu looking at her husband in silence, Xia Xiao said, "Kingsu, you saw it too. That's it." Su-Kingsu continued to fall into silence. Xia Xiao didn't need to explain. She could figure it all out. The failure of the desolate Emperor Palace was definitely connected to the immortal Emperor Yang and the demons descending upon their Jidao Imperial Palace. That could all be explained clearly. So that's how it is. Furthermore, the reason why the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor was able to recover his state and return must be because of Xia Xiao's exquisite immortal body. The only thing that is unclear is that Xia Xiao's little husband is the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. This mortal. How did they meet? Now in front of Chen Zhanai, she was too embarrassed to ask Xia Xiao about these gossips. Xia Xiao smiled and said, "So you can rest assured now. We will leave soon to see Yuaner and Hayar." She admitted that she spoke a little loudly at the beginning, but now it was not Su-Kingsu's turn to be unreasonable, because they already had 2 children. Su-Kingsu looked aggrieved and hummed. She felt like she had been tricked. She had only just learned about such a big thing. But she felt a little restrained at the moment and could only say, "Xiao, I want to go see Yuaner and Hayar too." Haha, Tilda was it someone who spoke so loudly at the time. But now, in front of Chen Zhanai, she couldn't play around with Xia Xiao. "Okay, you will see them when everything is stable." Xia Xiao didn't say much. Anyway, she had already reminded Su-Kingsu to be mentally prepared. Su-Kingsu could only accept the reality and looked at Chen Zhanai with a complicated expression. Suddenly, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night appeared in front of her. It was such a strange situation that she couldn't get used to it at first. Said, "Then Xiao, you and Chen. Mr. Chen can chat slowly, I won't disturb you." She must have agreed to this marriage, but she didn't expect it to turn out like this. Then she must have been redundant. Then he left immediately, closing the door behind him. Chen Zhanai didn't dare to interrupt, but he was also confused. "Madam, what's this, Miss Su?" She was the only patient, and she ran away first. Xia Xiao turned her pretty face away and pouted. "Husband, it's nothing. It's just that Kingsu has always wanted to see you. Oh yes, or the kind that is always on her lips." "See me?" Chen Zhanai felt that it was reasonable for Su-Kingsu to want to see him. After all, he was Xia Xiao's husband. "Then why are you so quiet now that you meet? And so reserved? This is completely different from before. Who knows, Tilda, women's hearts are as unpredictable as the sea." Xia Xiao pretended to look up. Chen Zhanai smiled. Perhaps Su-Kingsu wanted to meet the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Then he hugged Xia Xiao's delicate body from behind, deliberately said, "Maybe she can't adapt for a while. Since you don't know, just ignore her." "Oh, Tilda." "Madam, have you prepared gifts for Yuaner and Hayar? This is the first gift from my mother, so I can't just brush it off." "Of course I'm ready." "What's the gift, ma'am?" "Give them whatever they like." "Sound like a wish." Of course, satisfying their wishes can make me, as a mother, appear omnipotent. Although this is true, it sounds like empty promises to fool children. Even if I'm just making empty promises, my husband, I'm not making empty promises. I always keep my word. And in the Jidao Imperial Palace, Leng Jiushuang and a group of demons have been cursing each other for a long time. But for the time being, no one can do anything to anyone else. Now the confrontation is still going on. "It will be too late if you don't get out of here now." Leng Jiushuang snorted coldly. Despite such a big commotion, Xia Xiao and Chen Zhanai didn't even come back to take a look. They are so careless. Fortunately, the demons had other intentions. Otherwise, the Jidao Imperial Palace would have been robbed, and the couple hadn't arrived yet. It really doesn't seem reliable. At the same time, many powerful auras came rapidly. Chapter 83, let's go to Kingshuan Dao sect. After the powerful demons noticed this, their faces became serious, and they thought to themselves that something was wrong. Where is the eternal knight, immortal emperor? They never expected that, when the plan was carried out to this point, they would not be able to see the real boss. Such a big thing, even if the immortal emperor of eternal night is a little curious, he should come out to take a look. But no matter how unwilling I am, there is nothing I can do. If I can't see the eternal night immortal emperor, everything will be in vain. If they do not withdraw their troops now, once the powerful people from the fairyland gather together, they, the demon clan, will be surrounded and beaten. At that time, they will inevitably suffer heavy losses and will find it difficult to escape. Leng Jiushuang, I say the same thing again, don't be too happy too soon. The fact that the immortal Emperor Yangai doesn't show up proves that my demon clan has a better chance. If you think about it carefully, the unclear attitude of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor may not necessarily be a bad thing. It means that the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor is still hesitating. As long as they work hard, there is still hope. This is the only way I can comfort myself. With a cold snort and some harsh words, the huge demon abyss army began to retreat. It transformed into a ball of monstrous demonic energy, sweeping past and heading towards the nearby demon cave. Seeing this, Leng Jiushuang naturally wouldn't stop it, nor could she stop it. But what the demon said was not without some truth. Chen Junai's absence meant that his attitude was unclear, which only made people more suspicious. Leng Jiushuang thought for a while and shook her head. She was helpless. Soon, many top immortal sect masters gathered together. They naturally noticed that the demons had retreated, but they didn't know what had happened, so they still wanted to see what was going on. He said solemnly, "Palace Master of the Imperial Palace, how is it? Has the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night appeared?" The demons came for the Eternal Night Emperor, so it would be unreasonable for him not to show up, right? But they didn't even see the Eternal Night Emperor. Leng Jiushuang glanced at everyone. The immortal Emperor of Eternal Night has never appeared from beginning to end. What do you think? The powerful men were speechless. Why didn't the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor come out to take a look? Instead, it scared them and made them run over as fast as they could. But it turned out to be a false alarm. That's good. He breathed a sigh of relief. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night didn't show up, it meant he wouldn't run away with the demons. Since everything is fine, please leave. Although Leng Jiushuang was grateful to the powerful men for coming and scaring off the demons, he still had to see them off. Because these people did not come to resolve the crisis of their Jidao Imperial Palace, but came for Chen Junai. It's just that there was no trace of Chen Junai from beginning to end. Wait, the strong men were worried. Palace Master of the Imperial Palace, this matter is of great importance. The immortal Emperor of Eternal Night is quite close to your Jidao Imperial Palace. How about? Do you think I can influence the decision of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor? Leng Jiushuang asked directly. The experts were speechless for a moment. That being said, the Palace Master of the Imperial Palace could offer some persuasion, which might be effective. No need to say more, everyone please leave. After saying that, Leng Jiushuang slowly disappeared. From the beginning to the end, she has never been able to take care of the couple's affairs. It is not easy to raise a Xia Jiao, so she must not cause trouble again. The powerful men were left looking at each other in confusion. Everyone, although the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night has not appeared and responded to the demons, the more so, the more we must be on guard. That makes sense. With such a huge commotion, the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night must have known about it. But his absence only makes people more suspicious and uneasy. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night really becomes tempted, or if the demons resort to some other trick, it would be a disaster. This concerns the 33 immortal realms, so we absolutely cannot be careless. But Leng Jiushuang didn't dare to persuade the immortal Emperor Yang, so They were all embarrassed for a moment. After all, they had witnessed the power of the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor before. Not to mention that Emperor Jun and Jan Qingshan were both killed. From this, it can be seen that the immortal Emperor Yangai doesn't care at all whether the immortal realm loses any powerful immortal emperors, nor does he care whether the immortal realm can stop the invasion of the demons. The atmosphere was silent. Leng Jiushuang is not stupid. She should know her limits. Not to mention we can't force her to do anything. By the way, where is Yi Qingshuan? Not here. How ridiculous. If the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night really leaves the immortal realm and enters the demon realm, he will definitely be inseparable from the Qingshuan Dao sect. That makes sense. The attitude of Qingshuan Dao sect is very important now. We are going to the Southern Heaven Fairyland to seek an explanation. That's right, that's right. The immortal Emperor of Eternal Night's attitude is unclear right now, so just in case, there might still be room for recovery. As they were talking, a group of strong men headed towards the Southern Sky Fairyland. The blame must be on Qingshuan Dao sect. They can't gamble on this matter, they must prepare for it. The demons finally left unwillingly and sealed off all the demon caves. Although this action caught the immortal realm off guard, they did not achieve their goal and lost many legions in battles of all sizes. It makes their situation even worse. The secret detention is a bit depressing. QQE, is this your plan? In the end, not only did we lose over 100,000 soldiers, we didn't even see the shadow of the Eternal Night Emperor. And we were nagging by that woman Leng Jushuang for a long time. QQE was speechless, but he had been thinking about it for a long time. Said, the fact that the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night does not show up may not necessarily be disadvantageous to us. There are some causes and consequences after all. After all, if the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night really shows up and is truly willing to guard the demon abyss, he would be a traitor to the immortal realm. Perhaps the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night has taken this into consideration. And Jin frowned. Is that so? Would the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night care about this? Of course, even if we don't care, we still have to take it into consideration. After all, it's not good for anyone to be called a traitor. This is something we didn't consider carefully, QQE said seriously. Next time we can't come so openly, we have to do it secretly. Secretly? What do you mean? Secretly trying to incite the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to revolt. Wouldn't that mean he'd still be called a traitor? That's different. It doesn't matter if it's covert or circuitous. Anyway, we can only wait for the right opportunity. If there is such a loss next time, my demon clan will never gamble again. Otherwise, our situation will decline further. Don't be angry, don't be angry. At least we have gained something this time. It proves that the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night does not want to interfere in the troubles of the 33 immortal realms. This is a good thing. What kind of harvest is this? This is a huge gain, this is the key. Then why don't we go to Emperor's Fall Mountain, break the seal, and rescue the Demon Emperor? Can we break the seal? Besides, even if we can break the seal, the Demon Emperor is still alive. Can he still be a match for the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor? He will be sealed again or even wiped out. There is no need to do this. That's right. The Demon Abyss army ran back to the Demon Realm in a mighty force. But they won't give up easily. The demons retreated. The fairyland returned to peace, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief after a false alarm. However, the fact that the demons came for the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor still made people nervous. At the Su family, Su Qingsu was still wondering. Xia Xiao's little husband suddenly became a thigh, and Xia Xiao suddenly became a little wife. Tilde. Just thinking about her gives me goosebumps. My little wife Tilda. Chapter 84. Tell me my husband is not a spoiled child. How could that be? Su Qingsu couldn't sleep again. How come they are together? Is it such a coincidence? What's the process like? How did Yuaner and Hayar come into being? The more I think about it, the clearer I become. At this time, Xia Xiao came. Qingsu, what are you thinking about? Su Qingsu looked behind Xia Xiao and said, Xiao, your husband is not with you. Yes, I'll take some time to accompany you, Xia Xiao said. Find some time? Xiao, I'm really sad when you say that. Su Qingsu looked as if she had been wronged. Xia Xiao glanced at him and said, Are you showing your true colors? You didn't dare to speak loudly in front of my husband before. Su Qingsu pretended to be embarrassed and said, No. How about you guys? Did you have a good time staying at my Su's house last night? Didn't you stay up too late, Tilda? Tusk, Xia Xiao snorted in annoyance. As expected, she knew that Su Qingsu would still be like this. That was abnormal before. Don't make trouble. I came here this time to make some things clear to you. What's the matter? Su Qingsu pretended to be guilty and embarrassed. You don't suspect that I'm in love with your husband, and jealous. Xia Xiao rolled her eyes furiously. I'm not that petty. We already have twins, Tilda. You're showing off, Su Qingsu pouted in grievance. Master Chen doesn't know you're so good at showing off, right? How about I call Master Chen over and let him take a look? Of course, to show off. Xia Xiao simply followed Su Qingsu's lead. Call my husband over so we can show off together. Su Qingsu covered her chest, feeling heartbroken. Xiao, I'm already injured, and you still want to finish me off. Then I'll rub it for. No, tilde, Mr. Chen. Your wife is about to molest. Zia Zhiao's face darkened. Stop messing around, Kingsu. Let's get down to business. You've already met my little husband. How does he feel? She said that on purpose. Although Su Kingsu is gossipy and frivolous, they are still very happy when they are together. Su Kingsu also turned serious. Zhiao, you said that Master Chen is a little spoiled husband. I don't agree. Isn't that what you said? No, no. Then don't call him little darling husband behind my husband's back anymore. Hey, tilde, the legitimate wife has spoken. How dare I say anything? Right, the little darling wife of the eternal knight immortal Emperor Tilda. My sweet wife is my sweet wife Tilda. Zhiao, you've changed. You become more fragile, Tilda. I am just a delicate wife, of course I am weak. Besides, I have a husband unlike you. Su Kingsu was offended. Then he smiled lightly. Zhiao, do you think it's possible that Master Chen likes to be a spoiled husband? Zia Zhiao turned her head in surprise. Is this really possible? Of course, Su Kingsu began to analyze seriously. Think about it, what does this title mean? It means trust. It means that no matter how powerful you are, you will trust him, even if he is just a spoiled child. So Master Chen will definitely be happy. Mr. Chen also wanted to gain your trust and be protected by you when he was weak. Otherwise, he should have confessed his identity to you long ago. When Zia Zhiao heard this, she was unable to refute it. She smiled sweetly. Now that you mention it, my husband is quite cute, Tilda. Cute? Ha, Tilda, Su Kingsu got goosebumps again. Only a lady like you would dare to say he's cute. But since this is your first time doing this and that, and you're also parents, it's normal for you to seem a little silly. Zia Zhiao stared at Su Kingsu. It seems like I've said this to you so many times, but in the end you're still alone. Su Kingsu curled her lips. What does it matter? Okay, it's okay. So how do you feel? Zhiao, you really still want to test me? Pup. Ah, tilde, Master Chen. Your little wife is spanking my sweet butt. I told you not to be serious. Su Kingsu became much calmer after being beaten. He said aggrievedly, no, I'm not dishonest, but I'm able to see the eternal knight immortal emperor thanks to you. I kind of admire you, I guess. When Zia Zhiao heard this, she decided to fight poison with poison and almost cried. You are not serious, I am not talking about this. Su Kingsu's eyes widened. Then what did you say? Putting aside the title of eternal knight immortal emperor, saying that my husband is not a spoiled child is like saying that he is very powerful. So, Zhiao, you've experienced this many times yourself. Pup. Okay. Your husband is not a little darling husband, you didn't misjudge him, and your trust and persistence in him were not in vain. It's not the eternal knight immortal emperor's credit, it's all your credit. I shouldn't have called him little darling husband, it's all my fault. I am guilty. That's more like it. From now on, you have to maintain this attitude. Su Kingsu rolled her eyes. She felt that women were really fickle. When she called him little darling husband before, Zia Zhiao didn't stop her. Now that Master Chen appeared, she immediately came to settle the score with her. But she also knew that Zia Zhiao cared about her feelings. You have to strike the right attitude. Then he narrowed his eyes. But Zhiao, does Master Chen know you look like this, Tilda? Zia Zhiao said seriously, isn't this something you brought? It's like saying, he who keeps company with vermilion becomes red, and he who keeps company with ink becomes black. Besides, even if my husband knew, he wouldn't despise me. Then she blinked. Su Kingsu felt hurt again. It's all my fault, Tilda. Then he sighed, but Zhiao, fate is truly magical. Tell me, how did you two meet? Also, how did Yuaner and Hayar come into being? What was the exact process? It feels like a dream. She knew very well that by doing this, the couple not only changed the fate of the eternal knight immortal emperor, but also that of Zia Zhiao. It was mutual, even magical and dreamy like a cycle. The specific process, Zia Zhiao's pretty face began to flush. How could she say this? He turned away, feeling too guilty to look Su Kingsu in the eye. He said perfunctorily, perhaps fate itself is an accident. So deep. Of course. Su Kingsu pondered for a moment, then walked directly in front of Zia Zhiao and said seriously, I think Mr. Chen was immortal at that time. If you want to have Yuaner and Hayar, then you must give him too. Shut up. Zia Zhiao quickly reached out and pressed Su Kingsu's red lips. This is the culprit. Tilda. There was a moment of eye contact. The two started fighting again. Unconsciously, the demons retreated, and the fairyland was temporarily peaceful. Chen Zhenai and Zia Zhiao were also preparing to go back to see their baby. We parted on this day. Su Kingsu wanted to gossip about how Zia Zhiao and Chen Zhenai got along every day, but Zia Zhiao had already warned her. so she didn't dare to say anything. Xiao, Master Chen, we'll meet again. I'll come visit you when I have the chance in the future. We don't know when we will meet again after this separation. Bless them, it's not easy for them. They can't even take care of their own children. Mr. Chen, Miss Zia, see you later. Su Jiazhu was quite emotional. Suddenly there is such a big Buddha in my home. It is really sudden and I am flattered. Now of course I have to see you off in person. Zia Jiao felt that Su Kingsu was not so serious behind her back. Once she's in front of others, she changes. She used to be so honest. Oh, women are so fickle. He smiled and said, okay, we'll wait for you. Kingsu, see you later, Master Su. Master Su, Miss Su, see you later. Chen Jun also bowed. Then, the couple left the ancient Zio fairyland. Chapter 85, the couple returns to the ancient continent. After Chen Junai and Zia, Xiao left the Su family. After returning to the Jidao Imperial Palace and finding that nothing was seriously wrong, they prepared to go to the ancient continent. Of course, when going to the lower world, you don't need to go through the Ascension Gate. You just need to break through a gap in space. After all, the entire Jishiando Immortal Realm is managed by the Jidao Imperial Palace. Even if they casually break through the space and cause some noise, Leng Jushuang will not say much and can only turn a blind eye. As for the rules, does the lower realm still need to suppress cultivation? That doesn't exist, and Leng Jushuang can't control them either. Otherwise, it would be extremely difficult for ordinary people to pass through the Jishiando Immortal Realm to the lower realm. They would inevitably be locked down, and those who went to the lower realm would have to suppress their realm or set a time limit, and obtain a pass token issued by the Jidao Imperial Palace, etc. If you bring disaster to the underworld, you will be wiped out immediately. If an immortal wants to secretly break through the space of a fairyland and go to the lower world, he will basically be crushed immediately. The entire fairy world follows this rule, but obviously it is of no use to them now. They also didn't want to follow the rules, because they were going to find their offspring, and when facing their own flesh and blood, all the rules would be nothing. They were and would always be dispensable. Madam, what did the palace master of the Imperial Palace say to you? Chen Junai asked. Before returning to the Jidao Imperial Palace, Leng Jushuang talked with Zia Jiao for a long time. Zia Jiao's face turned strange as she recalled the past. Husband, the palace master said we were unreliable, and it put a lot of pressure on her. The palace master didn't dare to tell her husband, so she could only pull her aside to confide in her about the troubles that had occurred during this period. She had no choice but to listen obediently. Chen Junai smiled and roughly understood. I'm really sorry to bother her, but just let her rest assured. What she's worried about won't happen. I've spoken to the palace master. By the way, my husband, the palace master, also said that she hopes Yuaner and Hayar can come to the immortal realm one day. Ma'am, that's for sure. It's just a matter of time. Maybe soon. Husband, does this mean that Yuaner and Hayar are already very strong? Of course, they are already at the great emperor level. Emperor Zia Jiao was a little surprised. The descendants of immortals will be born in the immortal world, so there are also many cultivators below the realm of true immortals in the immortal world. Their children were in a special situation, but Yuaner and Hayar's arrival at the great emperor realm still surprised her. After all, the lower realm couldn't compare to the spiritual energy and resources of the immortal realm. Chen Junai smiled and said, Indeed, they have reached the great emperor realm and will soon be able to transcend the tribulation and ascend to heaven. Then he changed the subject. Madam, are you surprised? Although my cultivation was dissipated and affected our children, your strength is there, and they were not bad when they were born. Chen Junai felt a little sorry about this. If he had been in peak condition back then, the two babies would have been even stronger when they were born. This is also related to the parents, because it will give the child powerful innate magical powers. Unfortunately, he had his children when he was at his lowest point and was in the most miserable state. He could only let the two children work hard on their own. Of course, on the other hand, if he was at his peak then, Madam probably wouldn't have been able to tie him up like a wooden stick and force him to submit and give birth to Yuaner and Hayar. So, it's not Dad's fault. Zia Jiao naturally understood this logic. After all, her husband was a mortal at that time. She had always considered this. Although Yuaner and Hayar were already very good when they were born, their husband must have made a lot of sacrifices for them to become a powerful emperor so quickly. At the same time, she held Chen Junai's hand and comforted him. She didn't blame her husband for being a mortal and affecting the two children. Otherwise, there might not be two children. It's shameful to think about it. She said, My dear, I am certainly a little surprised, And this is probably due to your secret stash of funds, right? Without strong resources, it would be difficult to raise 2 children to the level of a great emperor. Talent is crucial, and resources are also indispensable. So my husband must have hidden a lot. Chen Junai nodded without denying it. Of course, madam. In order to give you a surprise, I have been working very hard to train them and consolidate their foundation. Hearing this, Zia Jiao stood on tiptoe and kissed Chen Junai on the lips. Thank you for your hard work, my husband. This is to compensate you. Fortunately, you took care of them when I was away. Although she would not dislike her cub, she would not mind if the cub became stronger. This was the case with her husband's training. Chen Junai kissed Zia Jiao's red lips again and said with a smile, Madam, I owe you this. Oh, of course, I was afraid of getting you and the others into trouble, so I kept it to myself. Chen Junai felt guilty for a moment, because he did have a lot of resources with him at the time, but he only gave them to the 2 children after his wife left. Husband, if that's the case, you owe me a lot. Of course, madam, I'll give you as much as you want. By the way, madam, I've sealed their cultivation. Seal, are you afraid they'll cause trouble? That's not the main issue. The main issue is that I'm worried that they'll transcend the tribulation and ascend to heaven, which will affect our plans to meet. Zia Jiao could understand it. After all, if such a young child wanted to ascend to heaven, it would easily attract the attention of the immortal world, and then they would trace the cause back to their parents. And once the cause and effect of their parents are not resolved, it will be a trouble. This decision can only be made by the child's father. After all, she thought it would take a very long time before she could see her husband and children. Then Zia Jiao's expression turned strange again. Husband, our fatherly and motherly love is really heavy. It has affected the cultivation of our 2 children. Madam, Yuaner and Hayar will understand us. Chen Junai didn't care, otherwise he would be betraying his parents. The couple smiled at each other, obviously feeling that this was not a big problem, and their hearts began to relax. Chen Junai, holding his wife's hand, quickly found a suitable place, and then tore the space apart with his hands. This scene made Zia Jiao's delicate body tremble. Chen Junai thought of something and put his arm around Zia Jiao's shoulders so that she could lean on him. Madam, face the past and look to the future. You can heal me and I can heal you. Think of happy things and Yuaner and Hayar will heal us too. Zia Jiao couldn't help but bury her head in Chen Junai's arms. She turned sideways, hugged Chen Junai's waist, and leaned against him quietly. My husband is right. I was forced to descend to the mortal world and escape the fairyland. I also went to the ancient continent in the same way. Although I was desperate at that time, and I am still very angry now, but when I think about how it led to our meeting and the birth of Yuaner and Hayar, I am very happy. Thinking back to when she was poisoned, she could only tear the space apart at all costs to escape from the clutches of the devil, but it was not in the Jishiandao immortal realm. Later, the palace master stepped in to resolve the situation. Otherwise, she would have violated the rules of the fairyland. The scene of her husband tearing the lower world apart just now really touched her fragile nerves. Chen Junai held Zia Jiao's cheeks and applied a little force, forcing Zia Jiao to pout. Then kissed. Chapter 86, Kingshuan Dao sect was surrounded again. After struggling for a while, Chen Junai began to coax his wife. Madam, don't be angry. For the rest of my life, I will make it up to you and heal you. Besides, I also have a past that I can't bear to look back on. Back then, I was also very desperate, very angry, and very furious. But when I think about how it led to my meeting you and the birth of Yuaner and Hayar, I feel especially happy, as if I can forget everything. He was really unhappy at that time. And the more he thought about it, the more unhappy he became, so unhappy that he couldn't sleep at all. But after meeting his wife and having a baby, he seemed to have found the most important person in his life. He had other goals and creeds in life. He thought about finding a wife all day long and was only concerned with taking care of the baby. As a result, he downplayed everything and became a Buddhist. Husband, are you imitating my speech? Ma'am, no, this is a statement of fact. My husband, it's really not easy for our fates to be intertwined. We have to go through so many disasters and tribulations. Madam is right. This is the fate we cultivated through our lifetimes. We should cherish it. Let's face disaster together and survive the rest of our lives together. Zia Jiao suddenly felt comfortable, but she couldn't say it out loud, because she knew that it was her husband who was healing her wounds. She turned around and comforted him. Don't be angry, my husband. I will heal you for the rest of my life. By the way, husband, let me tell you something. You won't be angry, right? Chen Junai's face turned strange for a moment. His wife was a comforting person. She was afraid that he would be angry, but she brought it up at this time. "Ma'am, what's the matter?" But he was curious. Zia Jiao gathered her thoughts and said, "Husband, I actually encountered the accident on my way to see the Eternal Knight Immortal Emperor. So, if I hadn't gone to see the Eternal Knight Immortal Emperor, perhaps I wouldn't have had those troubles." After saying that, she quickly glanced at her husband's face. She was afraid that her husband would be jealous. After all, at that time, the Eternal Knight Immortal Emperor was not her husband, but a stranger. Chen Junai smiled. The smile was a bit arrogant. "Madam, so you are destined to be my wife." Angry, not only not angry, but also very happy. Because this shows that his wife cares about him. Zia Jiao blinked. "Husband, what do you mean?" "Madam, think about it. You had an accident on the way to see me, but in the end you still met me. Not only that, you became my wife," Chen Junai analyzed. Although it was an accident, he indirectly tricked his wife, and then he miraculously became the child's mother. At that time, if Madam really wanted to see him and nothing unexpected happened, she might not have been able to see him, because by then, his cultivation had already dissipated and he had left the Qingshuan Dao sect, but few people knew about it. The fact that the lady can mention this to him now shows that she is able to face her past. This is a good thing. Zia Jiao was a little confused, but it sounded like that was the case. "Husband, then you are destined to be my husband, Tilda. I feel happy inside." "Madam, of course it is. It's a pity that Yuaner and Hayar came here because of unexpected factors." Zia Jiao blushed. She suspected her husband was talking about that time. After all, she had indeed returned to see him because she was pregnant. In reality, 7 days wasn't enough time to develop feelings. Otherwise, there would be no follow-up. "My husband is concerned about the fact that a father's status depends on his sons," she said coquettishly. "Husband, please don't be jealous of Yuaner and Hayar." She leaned closer to Chen Junai. This made Chen Junai satisfied. "In this case, is it still a big deal to give birth to a little girl for the 2 kids?" As they talked, they passed through the torn space. When Chen Junai and Zia Jiao returned to the ancient continent to see their children without caring about anything else, the Qingshuan Taoist sect was besieged for several days and nights. The sect's strong men and disciples were all confused. They were surrounded again. The demons retreated without achieving their goal, and they breathed a sigh of relief, admiring the fact that the sect leader understood Chen Junai. However, they had never expected that just when they relaxed a little, other troubles would arise. Yi Qingshuan also felt uncomfortable. "Everyone, you have been in my Qingshuan Dao sect for a few days. Why don't you leave?" Many powerful people were unhappy. "Yi Qingshuan, if the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night really goes to guard the demon abyss, the consequences will be disastrous. It will also inevitably be linked to your Qingshuan Dao sect." "That makes sense. We must ask for an explanation. If anything unexpected happens, we will definitely be implicated. We naturally cannot sit idly by." "That's right. If a disaster occurs because of your Qingshuan Dao sect's actions, we can't pretend we didn't see it. If the immortal realm is in calamity because of the cause and effect between your Qingshuan Dao sect and the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor, then the Qingshuan Dao sect will be the sinner of the immortal realm. We are doing this for the safety and stability of the immortal realm. We are taking into consideration the people of the immortal realm." The powerful men were filled with righteous indignation, as if it was their own business. This made many powerful people in Qingshuan Dao sect very angry. "We haven't even started yet, and you're meddling in other people's business. You're trying to pass the buck." However, it is also conceivable that Chen Junai's terrifying power, which has basically never appeared before, and only a slight hint of it, has caused these top immortal sect giants to panic so much that they even resorted to war to surround their Qingshuan Dao sect. They say it so nicely, but they are just afraid of getting themselves into trouble. Yi Qingshuan knew that if Chen Junai was not so powerful, the major immortal sects would definitely not say anything, let alone meddle in such trivial matters. This is clearly an internal matter of their Qingshuan Dao sect. Why do these people have to act so righteous? "So what do you think of my Qingshuan Dao sect? How the immortal Emperor of Eternal Night left your Qingshuan Dao sect? Just in case, your Qingshuan Dao sect must make its position clear and apologize to the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor. Perhaps there is still room for redemption." "That's right. You, the Qingshuan Dao sect, are responsible for persuading the Eternal Night Immortal Emperor to eliminate this slightest sign. We won't gamble on what the Immortal Emperor of Eternal Night thinks. We can only prepare for a rainy day this way. Otherwise, we will definitely not retreat." Everyone in the Qingshuan Dao sect was speechless, but there was nothing they could do. The eternal night immortal emperor would not come back, and in the end, they, the Qingshuan Dao sect, would have to bear everything. Yi Qingshuan's ears were hurting from the noise of the powerful men, but there was nothing he could do. He also knew that unless someone more powerful than Chen Junai appeared, the blame would definitely be put on their Qingshuan Dao sect. You have to memorize it even if you don't want to. Otherwise, no one will memorize it. And it's getting worse and worse. The Qingshuan Dao sect will also be affected and become a victim, like a soft persimmon being exploited. Yi Qingshuan thought for a moment and said, "Everyone, give me some time. I will definitely give you an explanation when the time comes." He felt that before that, he had to look for those people. Ancient continent, 9 holy temples. Chen Ziyuan, Chen Zihao, and Wang Tianjiao gestured for a long time. During these days, I basically never stopped and was determined to stick to it to the end. All kinds of cultivator professions came around, and as expected, Wang Tianjiao lost, completely lost, and cried. I cried so hard that I almost passed out.